Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey, here we are. I'm back for the first time in a while. Jason's here. Gee, he's always here. As I said, he never goes home.
Sleeps here.
Sleeps here.
Got
Got caught in the back.
Yeah.
Actually, there is. Low key in the bench back there.
And we've got two kids in studio with us for the first time ever, I believe. Ayana is here. Ayana, is this your first time? Or was I not here the first? Ayana is Earl's daughter. She's
Smarter than all of us in this room.
She's what?
Smarter than all
Very
of us
smart,
in this room put together.
Good at basketball. She's going into the 10th grade, right? Sophomore. And so she's here. We're not going to put the camera on her? I mean, where are you guys?
She's behind the camera.
Slide this way. There you go.
There she is.
She's going to be like a heart surgeon or something,
That's
right?
Earl's daughter. Heart surgeon.
You can get me together when I get older.
You can unclog my arteries in 10 years.
Well, I'm going to need that in less than 10 years.
I need just a real quick stent, like a little, like not the whole artery, just a stent.
And Aaron's here, my son as well. He's a veteran of the UCSS chairs there. He's been here about 12 times already.
He came in today. He had his Tony Stark glasses on. I like him. I had some aviators like that, but they too dark. I don't want to use them because they'll think I'm going big time. Because they'll be like, you got aviators on in the club, so you can't do that. And by the way, Aaron, he had a life. This is like one of the biggest life decisions. He said, G. Bush, I'm thinking about moving on from my Pokemon collection. And I said, what you need to do is take some time to yourself, really meditate, figure out where you want to be at, and then take your glasses and put them on and hand your cards to your father and tell him, keep these for about 30 years. I'll come back and get them, and they'll be worth way more.
There you go.
There you go.
By the way, tonight, shout out to the teams that are playing in the Rocky River Little League Championship games tonight.
Avon Lake semifinals tonight.
You're in?
Okay.
Yeah, we play tonight.
Okay.
All right. Did you get your kids back, or the kid was hurt? He's done, though, right?
I lost a kid, our second best pitcher and cleanup hitter, to a broken toe in his growth plate.
Oof.
It's not good.
Not good.
It's not good.
That's so weird.
What seed are you, the 2?
We're the 2 seed.
So you're playing the 3 tonight.
We're playing,
Okay.
Yeah, we play the 3
You like
tonight.
your chances?
They're a good team, but yeah, I like their
Is it
chances.
6 innings guaranteed?
6 innings guaranteed, no time limit.
Yeah.
I was worried about the weather. Because
it cleared up now.
It did.
It was
because
bad.
if everything got pushed back into Saturday, one of our other best kids would not be there for Saturday.
Gosh.
And I'm like, well, we're done. If we lose 2 of our best kids, we're done. But I think we're going to be okay.
All right. Well, good luck tonight.
Yeah.
What time's the game?
Well, it's up in the air. It's scheduled for 6. There's a chance we move to 8:15. There's a coaching conflict going on.
Oh, God.
But I think
a lot of controversy in your league.
I think we're 6 o'clock tonight. I think.
All right. And I've been going down to do the announcing at the field for our World Series is a best of 3. Is yours a best of 3 or is it just?
Boy, I wish it was. That'd be
Oh, I
great.
like that. Shout out
wish
to
it was.
get
It's
that.
just one game.
Unfortunately, my team's not in it.
You got to be on the board. I like that.
But both our minor league division, which is 4th and 5th, or 3rd and 4th graders going to 4th and 5th, and our 5th and 6th graders, both are going to a deciding game 3. They were both supposed to be last night. They started both games.
Oh, wow.
And then the rains came. So both games got suspended.
And they pick it up where they left
both
off.
games are 2-0, one in the second inning, one in the bottom of the first.
Yeah.
And they'll be picked up tonight. So we're going to finish those games tonight.
So we were at a swim meet last night as the torrential rain is coming.
Yeah.
But it's swimming. You're going to get wet anyway.
Yeah.
So they're trying to start this thing.
There's lightning and thunder.
Right.
That cuts
And so they pushed it back and pushed it back.
Yeah.
And if the rescheduled date was for tonight. Now, AJ, my son, is less than a second away from breaking a club record that stood for over 50 years. And so he's like, Dad, if this gets pushed to tomorrow, I don't know what to do. It's a playoff game versus the butterfly record. Yeah. I'm sorry, breaststroke. I say butterfly all the time. He gets mad at me.
No kids like doing butterfly.
It's breaststroke.
Right.
And he's less than a second away. But they did get it in last night. He missed the record by, I think, 0.9 of a second. He's got one chance left, but at least he got to race last night.
Yeah.
And we played it tonight.
We get baseball tonight. All right. There's all the Little League and kid updates. Let's send it to Mike for the first topic of the day.
Before we get to the first topic, I am very excited to announce something about the future of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Good.
We have a new sponsor.
Yes.
And this is a sponsor that genuinely, and I am not exaggerating, is one of my favorite brands in the entire world. If you guys haven't heard of Bird Dogs, I don't know what you're waiting for. They're half athletic, half casual. You can wear them to the gym or out any night, anytime. It's like Lululemon, but a little more casual, a little more like able to be worn around. They're sending us a couple to test and try out. I already own a few pairs, so trust me on this one. They're elite. I can't wait for you guys to try them. And when they get in, we're going to do maybe a little UCSS fashion show with the new
I want to see Bull on a runway.
Hey, McNuggets is not lying. These Bird Dogs, shout out to them. I got a couple pairs at home. You a big dude, you can dress these sweats up, man. You can wear these are good quality sweats.
They have good big men stuff?
Listen, they got good width, they got good length. The height is all right.
I love it.
A square plus B
all right,
square.
welcome, Bird Dog. We're happy to have them.
I've been a Lululemon guy my whole life, but I'm willing to have an open mind. I'm
telling you, these are awesome. They're telling us they're going to send us some tumblers, too, so we'll get some Bird Dog tumblers and some Yetis throw out here. But very excited to have Bird Dog on board. And, I wear shorts all the time. Now that Bird Dogs is the official shorts of UCSS, G, I'm looking at you. Don't you dare walk in the studio without Bird Dogs on, bro. Don't you dare.
Well, Bird Dogs going to send them boys in here. We will go ahead and definitely throw them joints on.
So we're excited to have them and looking forward to our partnership over the next couple months with Bird Dogs. With that, we got a lot to get to. We have two guests. We have a blast from the past coming on later in the show. A former 7-footer, our 7-footer, Brad Sellers, is making an appearance.
We have two guests?
We have two guests. We also have one of my old Emerson College
I forgot about that.
classmates who covers one of the Guardians' top picks in the draft to give us a little breakdown on what the Guardians can expect from their 6'6", 98-mile-an-hour throwing 18-year-old second-round pick.
By the way, I don't need any nudniks who cover the minor leagues putting tweets out there saying – Randy, what's the kid they drafted?
Ralphie Velasquez.
You fans have been looking for power. This kid's not going to be in the majors for like 5 years. I don't want to hear about his power. First of all, we don't know just because he had power in high school doesn't mean he has power. Go ahead.
I saw the coolest stat today, and we did this earlier. Sorry to derail. We'll talk Guardians in a second.
You're derailing. Go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
In the last decade, this is one of the most this is from Jay Kuda on Twitter.
Yeah.
In the last decade.
Yeah.
Which team do you think has put the most draft picks into Major League Baseball? Not necessarily for their own team, but just guys who they drafted made the majors. What team and what percentage?
I will say.
We talking colleges?
No,
MLB teams.
MLB team. They're drafted.
Oh, I got.
I'm sorry. I'm going back and forth between Tampa Bay and Atlanta. I'm going to say Tampa Bay. At percentage of draft picks, I mean, most guys drafted in later, and they used to be 40 rounds. Now there's only 20, so there's a higher percentage now. But I'll say maybe 38%, Tampa Bay.
Over how many years are we talking?
A decade, 10 years.
Man, that's lower than that. 22%.
I was thinking 22, like exactly 22. That was the number I was thinking.
You're saying Rays also?
Braves.
Oh, Braves 22%.
Give me the Dodgers, 20-ish%, 18%.
So the Dodgers are second at 20%.
Wow,
the
that's pretty
Astros
good.
Are first
Dang.
at
Oh,
23%.
Dang, wow.
The Guardians, fourth at 18.
Yeah.
So a quarter, the best team in baseball of all their draft picks.
Yeah.
Less than a quarter of those draft picks ever make the major league.
Yeah, you can't think of that in a like a football sense because there's so many more rounds.
No, I know. I'm just saying I thought it was fascinating to see that even the best team in the league at drafting, they've had 329 draft picks in the last decade. 77 reached the major leagues. Do you know who's the worst team?
Oh, that's interesting. Who's the worst team? The Angels?
The Mets.
Well,
yes, the Mets.
Oh,
G nailed it.
Nice.
Guess what percentage of the Mets draft picks in the last decade?
7.
A little higher.
9.2.
Gee, Bush, holy crap. Did you see this graphic? It's the Mets at 9%.
Wow, look at you.
Mr. Baseball himself stumping the baseball elitist panel here of Bo and Jason.
Sometimes even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
That's good. It makes sense, though, because you'd think it would be a good team.
Yep, that's been a bunch of money.
You know, like you'd say the Tigers and Royals are bad, but they bring up a lot of young guys because they stink and they don't spend a lot of money.
I was like, let me see if a good
This
team.
is the full chart in order, just so you guys know. The Astros, Dodgers, Yankees, Guardians, Twins, Pirates, Mariners, Padres, Blue Jays is the top 10. Guardians, 333 draft picks over the last decade. 60 of those.
I think
have
a
made the
better.
majors.
I'm more curious about like the top 3 rounds and what the percentage is.
But doesn't that make why they have a Moneyball show, right? And the A's are like 11%. They're horrible. Like the A's should have all of their players
Well,
playing.
Moneyball's out the window. Everybody does money. Everybody uses the same
Metrics.
But
information now.
what's crazy about that? Real quick, can you throw that up one more time? The top 3. What did you say the top 3 were?
Astros,
Dodgers, Yankees.
3 of the biggest spenders,
Yankees is
especially Dodgers.
surprising.
That is very.
The Dodgers and Yankees not only have the deepest pockets in the sports, they also are the best at drafting. Like, that's terrifying.
Yes, it is. That is completely, especially the Dodgers. And
The Dodgers trade their top prospects every year, and they still have a top farm
that's
system.
crazy. What are they doing?
I mean, the Yankees are at what, 20%? Where, like the Nationals down at the bottom. What are they at, 13%?
But the percentage doesn't matter if you're still better than everybody else at doing it. If you're identifying major league talent at a higher level than everybody else in your sport, the percentages don't really matter.
Well,
and then when you screw
and
up,
when you put their money on top of it.
You know, if a guy goes up to the majors for one game,
Sure,
that,
okay,
that
fine.
counts,
But obviously they're pretty good. They know what they're looking for.
I think a better representation would be what's the percentage of top 3 rounds, or what's the percentage of players that actually have a legit major league career versus just a cup of coffee.
and
Either way, and you're right, that would be a more apt comparison. I think
Yeah.
it's hard to determine where's the line of good major league career or not, but just to see that, I had never really put it into context.
Yeah.
And to Jason's point, the 3 of the highest spending teams are also 3 of the best at evaluating talent, and
yet
in
the
one way or
Yankees have
another,
not
is-
really been that good a franchise for the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. When's the last time they won a World Series?
2007.
Has it been that long? Wow.
It was yeah.
They've won one since 2000. They've won championships.
It was
since
whatever
2000.
year A-Rod won it with them. Was
And
it 09?
Cashman still
I
has
think it
a
was
job.
09.
Yeah,
That's
Cashman's
the most.
done a terrible
That's
job
the most
there,
remarkable
considering
part.
his payroll.
Is the GM is
So
still
my
employed.
thing is, I always find it really fascinating that, like, if you say who's a better organization, people will say the Guardians, but they haven't won any. Like, you would say, oh, they haven't won since 07, right?
Yeah.
But if you say the Guardians, they'll be like, oh, they're a much better organization, much better run than the Yankees and Cashman. You're like, but I don't know.
Yeah, but the Yankees have a massive advantage of a significantly higher payroll, so there's less of an excuse for them not to win the World Series. I get what you're saying,
Yeah, it's like I've never seen.
but I think if you asked most baseball people what front office is better, the Guardians or the Yankees, all would say the Guardians.
Guardians are one of the top 3 in the
Would
game.
you take the front office or the money?
The money.
Every time you take the money.
The bag.
Take the money.
Again, all that money, Brian Cashman.
But yes, but look at how
It's
many
1
they won.
versus 0.
Look how many they won in the 90s
Yeah,
with all
but
that
he
money.
didn't put those teams together.
I'm not saying him, but I'm saying the money.
Right.
I mean, I would love, like, it's not really this or that, but
Here's the difference, though. In those days, there weren't as many high-spending teams as there are now. So now it's hard. I hate to say it's harder for the high-spending teams, but there's more competition.
You know what? Ideally, just retain your own guys. Like,
Well, that's what the Yankees did in the 90s.
Absolutely.
It was more about retaining their guys
yes,
than
it's
adding
Jeter
them.
and Rivera and Posada, Bernie Williams, keeping those guys under control for. But that's why it's not even so much. Okay, I don't expect Cleveland to go out and get Aaron Judge.
no.
But just retain the talent that you have. That's all.
So-
just keep the guys that you have.
What guys would you have liked them to see?
Well, Lindor, for one, I understand he hasn't been quite the same, and that trade's worked out for him okay because I know Jimenez is down a little bit, but I think he's going to be just fine. But just, every time a pitcher comes up, they have to trade him. It's the Bieber discussion that we had. And again, it's not a perfect comp because Bieber's struggling and it doesn't have the same velocity. But Bauer, Clevenger, all these guys that they've had to move on from. Now, in the Guardians' defense, they move on from these guys at the exact right time.
Right.
Every time.
None of those guys. I mean, Bauer had the one good year, but it was a COVID year.
Right.
That was it.
But it's just
Clevenger's done nothing.
You know when this starts, you know you got 6 years with them, and then you're gonna have to trade them.
Well, with the pitchers, certainly.
Yeah.
Now
Jimenez, they did sign long
they
term.
signed Emoni. They signed Ramirez. They signed 2 guys in the bullpen.
And that's why I think we're starting to maybe see future money. You know, they signed Jose to the big deal last year. They signed Jimenez to the big deal this year. Maybe this is the start of the minority ownership group eventually going to take over when the big dollars kick in a few years. maybe this isn't the Dolan's concern anymore.
Yeah.
And again, like, I'm not bashing them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm encouraged by the Ramirez extension last year, although it was way under market value. He took a lot less money.
Right.
I'm encouraged by the Jimenez deal. Like, if we can see more of that, that would be wonderful.
Mike, I think we should call. Gee, 1 second, because I think we should call an audible here. I know we were planning on starting with the Browns.
No, let's go with the Guardians
Let's
first.
flip flop, do the Guardians. I think, in fact, let's do the Shohei Ohtani thing real quick, then get to the Guardians' grades, because we're talking about transactions right now. No?
Yeah, we could do that. Steve, let's go down. We're going to have to call an audible here.
Call an
Give me-
audible. You guys fix on that. And what were you going to say, G?
Oh, I was going to say, the hitters, yes, they would be resigning the hitters, but I don't think that they're going to ever, like, if you got a 6-year period, I think they're just going to keep the guys for 6 years and let them ride out. I don't think they're going to ever sign
Pitchers?
No.
I think the only way we're going to see the Guardians sign a pitcher long term is if they sign them in their first year, basically, where they can get a massive disc. You know, like if you could sign Gavin Williams or Tanner Bybee right now, I think they would do something like that. If you can get one of those guys for 8 years, 9 years. But to be fair to the Guardians, they don't listen. I've talked about how they don't spend enough a million times. Everybody knows where we stand on that. However, to be fair to them, as you said, signing pitchers into the 30s doesn't really make a lot of sense.
It's incredible risk. Even a 9-year deal for Gavin Williams is unbelievable risk.
Right. Pitchers are risky. They get hurt all the time. Now, Gavin Williams and Bybee, those are guys I would take a chance on. They're big. They're strong. They got great stuff, especially, Bybee's got great stuff. Williams may have super great stuff.
I'm kind of coming around on the 6 years. Just keep them for 6 years and move on. I'm kind of coming around on it. Especially, it feels like players are developing faster now. Guys are making more of an impact earlier on in their careers. So ride him for 6. And if he has Tommy John surgery and he's not the same pitcher, you're not tied into him.
But that's it. I'm saying, again, I would only sign them at this point. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want paying these guys in their 30s. They can't afford it. And most pitchers in their 30s don't pitch well. There are some, but the percentage is very small. By the way, this kid Skeens, who was the first overall draft pick by, who took him again?
The Pirates out of LSU.
There's no reason he couldn't be in the majors even this year.
He'll be in the majors this year. I fully believe
I don't know if he will because it's the Pirates, but 100% by next year.
And they had such a heavy workload.
Right, he pitched a lot at the end of the year.
A lot of times you shut these guys down for a little bit.
Before we do grades, I do want to touch on Shohei Ohtani real quick. And we'll do this quick. It's not super long.
Yeah.
We don't have to play the tag, but I'll tell you what he said. But he was asked essentially, which American League All-Star are you most excited to play with? His answer was Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
So before we get into
technically it wasn't play with. Technically it was to be in the dugout with.
Who's he most excited to be around?
Well, no, because he said Ramirez is funny. He likes talking with him. It didn't really. I don't think it really had anything to do with his play, but even though I'm sure he respects his play.
Further proof that both of those guys speak English plenty well.
Of course they do.
Despite the fact that in the media they both don't.
To be fair to both Shohei and Jose Ramirez, of course they speak some level of English, but they're more comfortable speaking in their native language. They're stars.
I'm not knocking.
Yeah,
him.
no, I know you're not. But some people complain about that, and if I knew Japanese, okay, which I certainly don't. I wish I did, but if I knew Japanese, I wouldn't be able to speak it as well. I could speak English. So if I was being interviewed, well, I wouldn't want to do it in Japanese. I'd want to do it in English because I'm more comfortable with the nuances of the language. So while Ohtani and Jose Ramirez, of course, they speak some level of English. There's nuances that if you're not a native speaker, you're not gonna get as well.
And we will use it against you in a court of law.
People will. 100%.
I wasn't saying
Why
it as a
would
knock.
Ohtani say that?
You weren't saying it as a knock, but some people do.
Yeah,
That's
they'll take that little word that you missed.
Why can't he speak English? Like that same idiot, if he had to move to Japan, would learn Japanese. No. Of course he wouldn't. Go ahead.
So my question to you guys.
Yeah.
We understand that there is essentially a 0.1% chance the Guardians would actually pursue Shohei.
Yeah.
Now, after hearing him say that he was most excited to be in the dugout with Jose, in your mind, is there anything he could say or do? Is there anything in the world Shohei Ohtani could say or do to make the Guardians front office legitimately consider putting together a super package to try and acquire him?
No. Well, first of all, the Guardians shouldn't trade for him. That doesn't make sense. Not at this point. Or at the beginning of the season, I was like, yeah, let's get crazy. What are you going to do? At this point, it doesn't really make sense. Now,
what's the difference in the start of the season and now? They're a first-place team.
Yeah, but they're not that good. They're not very good.
I'm aware of that, but if you wanted them at the start of the season, they're a first-place team at the All-Star break.
It's a fair. let me just say.
Here we go. Yes, sir.
It's a fair point, and in the end, if they did it, I'd be perfectly happy. But there's no chance they're going to do it.
But there is one thing he could say.
What's the one thing?
There is something he could say. I don't like money. I don't need that other $450 million I'm going to get this winter. I love Cleveland so much, I will sign here for $130 million.
He has to pull, I'll give you an example, the great Andre Dawson, Hall of Famer, who I interviewed this week. It was one of my career highlights because he's one my favorite players growing up were first Bill Buckner, then it was Ryne Sandberg, and Lee Smith and Andre Dawson. Those were my favorite players as a kid. I fanboyed out a little in my interview with Andre Dawson in the beginning. Before we started, I was like, you're one of my favorite players of all time. Got to say, I'm a huge fan. Anyway, he was awesome. I did like 25 minutes with him, so check out my podcast, which I put out Wednesday. But I don't know if you remember this, Jason. I don't know if you remember this, G. You're both old enough. Andre Dawson was a great player for the Expos.
Hawk.
But it destroyed his knees playing on that awful AstroTurf.
Yep.
And the year he hit free agency, he was the biggest free agent, but it was the collusion year. Do you remember that?
No.
Remember the players ended up suing the owners and they won?
Yeah.
The owners colluded. Nobody was offering Andre Dawson a contract. He was one of the best players in baseball. He was a free agent, and nobody offered him a contract because there was collusion going on. So he basically went out in the media and said, I want to play for the Cubs. Give me a blank contract. I'll sign it. And he signed for like I think it was under $1 million a year.
Wow.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was an absurdly low contract. As a fan, selfishly, and a kid, I wasn't thinking about the ramifications of it. I was so excited because he joined my team. But he gave the Cubs a blank contract, said, I want to play in Wrigley Field. What are you going to pay me?
Yeah.
I'll play for almost anything. And that's basically what he did.
Yeah.
And that would basically have to be the same thing with Ohtani.
I mean, that's obviously not going to happen.
Of course.
This is not reality that we're talking about. But that's what it would take. And if he ever came out and said that, then I think you have an actual discussion, put together a package, and do your best to go get him. And even then, I don't know if the Angels would
What
trade
if the
him.
ramifications? What are the ramifications for the Dolans if he comes out and say, look, market value for me is probably like 500, 600.
Yeah, easy.
I'm gonna do it for 225. If he said what, they would get eviscerated. They would get destroyed in the media if he said 225.
They are not signing a $200 million contract.
People,
I don't care who it is.
I would be.
Oh, I'd lose my mind.
I'd lose my mind.
There's no excuse. I
no
think
excuse.
in the end, Jason is 98% right, but I would be so pissed.
Well, we'd never know.
We'd never know because he'd never say that.
But if he said that,
in La La Land,
I love Cleveland. I don't love Cleveland that much. I ain't turning down $300 million to stay here.
Let's face it. The reality is, like, the guy. There's no Japanese culture in Cleveland, and I think that's important.
That's why
I'm wrong.
That's why I think Seattle is a real player for him this winter.
No doubt. I'd like him to go to the Cubs, and I think financially they could pay him. He's not going to Chicago.
I don't, man. Like, that's like saying, like, if I'm in business, right?
Yeah.
And they say, listen, there's a genius out here. This guy, there's a Tesla out here. There's guys out here. This guy is a genius engineer, or this guy is the best financial mind in the world. And I say, okay, where's he at? And he's over here, and he said, how much money do you want to pay me? He said, well, we'll talk about it. The fact that my company could not even be in the mix for it as a Fortune 500 company would be, I would want to get out of business.
I know, it's terrible. But the reality is there's only a few teams that are going to be in the mix. All those teams are going to be interested. And he's probably going to end up with either the Dodgers or the Mariners, I think, are the two most likely teams he ends up with. I don't think he's going back to the Angels. And by the way, the Angels are stupid. They won't trade him. They're stupid not to because they could get such a haul. Yeah. And you know what? Even if they want to re-sign him, why couldn't they trade him and then in theory re-sign him anyway?
Because aside from Aroldis, I don't know that I can recall another. I feel like there was one about 20 years ago, but I don't remember what it was. It's very rare to trade a guy and then get him back.
Of course it's very rare. But that's because the team trading him is usually not interested in signing the guy in many cases or can't afford it in many cases. Because it's not usually big market teams that trade guys like that.
That is crazy. You just said that.
I mean, if I'm the Angels, you could completely restock your farm system with trading him.
If you did that, would the league step in and say, like, if there was, like, if Shohei says, trade, here's what we're gonna do: trade me to one of these teams.
Yeah,
we're gonna get everything they got.
And you know what?
We're going to come
Carlos
back.
Kind of genius,
Carlos
G.
Boozer told the Cavs that and wound up in Utah.
Jason, in the end, they'd be stupid not to trade him. They're out of it.
I think if you trade him, I agree. I think they should trade him.
Yeah.
But I think by trading him, you're giving up any realistic chance of re-signing him.
I mean, they got to know how realistic it is to this point anyway. If they really think that, I mean, if I were them, I'd say, if I were him, I would, and I wanted to stay, I'd say to them, you know what, trade me and let's,
Get everything they got and come give me that bag. And we'll be back.
Get a better team.
Okay, and Carlos Boozer told the Cavs that and signed in Utah.
But Carlos,
I'm just telling you, you can't take these guys at their word and what they say in July. Things change.
I hear you.
I get it.
Fair. I'd still trade him because they could get a haul for him.
As a player.
But they won't. You know they won't. There's no chance they're going to trade him. I'll be surprised if they do. But I wonder if it holds up the trade deadline, the possibility of teams going all in for Shohei.
Speaking of going all in, well, I know we've done a little bit of promotion for this on the show, but we haven't fully blown it out. But Earl, myself, and Anthony have been doing a behind-the-glass live stream / podcast once a week. And last night, this kind of topic came up, whether or not the Guardians should be all in for Ohtani if he was put on the trade block. And I want to play a clip from Earl on the show yesterday speaking about the opportunity to go all in. Steve, play.
But the fear in this city to do something outside of the box, something outlandish or something just out of this world, personally, man, it drives me crazy. People have this notion that we can't do this or we shouldn't do this because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we might be dead. This world as we know it might not be the same. You know, I get it, preparing for the future, but sometimes, man, you got to live in the now. And if somehow, some way, the Cleveland Guardians can get their hands on Shohei Ohtani now, damn the future, damn him being a rental, try to go win a World Series now. I think people forget the ultimate goal of any sport is to win a championship. And if you can win a championship now by mortgaging some of your future, then you do it. And if you feel like not mortgaging your future and building out long-term wins you a championship, then you do it. It's not about the road you take. It's just about getting to your destination of winning the championship.
Max. It's so hard. I get what Earl's saying, and I generally agree with him. The problem is, and if the Guardians did trade for Shohei Ohtani, I'd be thrilled. I would not criticize them. But you would have to give up at least one of Williams and Bybee in that deal, and a whole lot more on top of that.
I think it is organizational malpractice to trade for him, given where they're at in the standings and given realistically what.
I just don't think they have a chance. But
now in 2020, I was advocating exactly that move. Like, you knew it was your last year with Frankie.
Yeah.
So go for it. Like, go all in. Trade Nolan Jones. And that was back when I used to be on Twitter more, and people were like, "You just don't understand how it works." I'm like, "No, I know exactly how it works. I know that some of these prospects aren't going to hit, but go all in while you have your last chance with Lindor and then recoup whatever you can in trades in the offseason." But in this situation, you don't have that. Other than Bieber, you don't have that where there's a clock ticking on any of these guys. And this just doesn't feel like the year. I think it's malpractice to try and trade Gavin Williams and Bybee and some of these other guys and mortgage so much for a brief run when it guarantees you nothing, and this team still has a ton of holes. I just don't think that this is the. There are other years where I would say yes, now is the time. I don't think this season is that season.
I always thought it was funny when people talk about mortgages, like mortgaging the future. Like, it's easy to say like don't mortgage it, but the people that got like houses that live nice, they mortgage it. And they tell you not to do it. You live in an apartment, don't mortgage your future. You're like, but listen, I would like to enjoy my today.
Yeah.
What if today I can not live in the projects? What if I can not live next to this creepy old guy? I would probably mortgage it. So I understand what Earl is saying. Like, would it be kind of crazy to give up your best prospects a little bit when you don't think they're that good? Sure. But my question is, I don't think they would do it under any circumstances. Because when they did have a chance to do it when Frankie was there, and they did have the team, and they did look like they had the pieces, and Jose Ramirez is in his prime, and Frankie is too, they still wouldn't have made that move.
They did it in 2016 when they traded for Andrew Miller.
And by all accounts, they were in on Bryce Harper that summer that Harper was coming up on free agency. Yeah. So I do think in the right situation, I think that they would be aggressive and make that move.
I know it makes no sense for them to trade for Ohtani. It really makes no sense. However, I would love it if they did.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it would
make
set
every
baseball on
Guardians
fire.
game-
It would set
be
the city
amazing.
on fire for 3 months.
It would make every Guardians game must-watch
That's right.
appointment television.
I mean, he's literally, well, no, he's not literally. He is like adding 2 superstars.
Yeah.
2.
Thank you for the country. Here's what I'm gonna tell you about Japan. Thank you for doing something unconventional. Here in the United States, we are too conservative about everything.
Oh, God,
now,
yes.
and so you found the best player almost ever because you said we're not going to pigeonhole him into doing one or the other.
And now we'll
Thank you.
eventually see more guys. Now,
Yes.
are they ever going to be as good as him?
No.
But the Giants last year drafted a kid who's pitching and hitting in the minors. They just drafted another kid this year who's pitching and going to pitch and hit in the minors.
Thank you.
It's not just that he pitches and hits. It's that he's elite at both.
And I don't think that we hold kids back from doing that. If
Oh,
you're-
yeah, we do.
Brendan McKay did it with the Rays. He got hurt. Like, that's the thing. It exposes you to
But
so many
Jason,
injuries.
before Ohtani,
There was never a
there
thought.
were people may be capable. Who knows if they were capable of being
This
this
is
good at
one
both.
in a billion.
No, but there were other guys that you could have tried it with.
You
and-
could have
and
developed that
was
skill
never
set.
a possibility in baseball.
They
Maybe
would have never
CeCe.
tried it.
Maybe CeCe. CeCe was a good hitter.
I don't think it's 1 in a billion. I think it's, do you practice it?
I think it's 1 in a billion to be this good at both.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you can't be Ohtani, I think that there's guys out there
Yeah.
can be all-stars at doing it.
I mean, there are.
He's a Hall of Fame.
By the way, Michael Lorenzen, who was an all-star only because the Tigers had to have somebody, but he's having a pretty decent year. He was being used as a part-time hitter in Cincinnati towards the end of his time there. Like, he was a pinch hitter.
Rick Ankiel back in the day.
Yeah.
There's a guy on the Giants, Reggie Crawford, who was drafted in the first round
I
last
just
year.
said that, Mike. Where the hell
Well, I
are
was looking
you?
up. Well, I was looking up if Jack Caglione got drafted, but he's getting in the draft next year. He's the top prospect in next year's draft.
Yeah.
The kid from Florida?
So
Yeah.
we're going to see
He's
more and more
nice.
guys. Yeah. All right, let's go to the Guardians grades now.
It
we're
is
going to
time.
get to an interesting Browns topic in a little bit. But
We may, depending on time, we may save that for next week.
Okay, maybe we'll save that.
Because I know we got this might take a little longer.
Yeah.
And we got a couple other things, but tomorrow the Guardians start their second half of the season. They have 72 games of baseball left. They are 45-45 through 90 games, which means it is time to hand out some grades for individual players on their performance just through the first 90 games of this season. I don't want to hear anything about what they've done previously in their careers. This is not career grades. This is just grades for the first half of the season. And with
By
that,
the way, I'm grading them on a curve based on what my expectations were, too.
yes.
That's what I'm doing.
Yes.
All right.
We got about 10 to 12 guys. We got 20, 25 minutes for this, so 2-3 minutes on each.
All right.
And let's start with Jose Ramirez. How would you grade Jose's first half of the 2023 season?
All right. You guys ready?
I'm ready. Who's going first?
B+,
that's
B+,
what I
B+,
said.
around the board. No need for a discussion here.
No.
Real quick, give me one 10-second statement on why it's a B+, Bull.
I mean, just because, he's having a good year and he's an all-star, but he's not. For him, if it was his stats for any other player on the Guardians, it'd be an A or even higher. But you have such high expectations for him, I can't give him an A because he's not having he's not even having an MVP level.
He's not having the first half he had last
No.
year. It's just insane.
He's
And
having
maybe-
a good, solid
and
first
maybe
half.
it's unfair to hold that against him, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I mean,
that's-
obviously the bar is a lot higher for Jose than everybody else.
No doubt, yes.
Okay, that was easy. Next up, how would you grade Josh Bell in the first 90 games of the season?
But a little better. He's played a little better the second half of the 90 games.
As a reminder, Bell was their big offseason acquisition, a one-year deal with a player option for a second deal at just over $30 million total. G gives him a D+.
I give him a D+. Also.
Bull gives him a D+, and Jason gives him a K for strikeout. That's funny. and
He's
mean.
worse than an F.
No,
He's
come
a
on.
K.
He was
No.
a little. He's been a little better.
No, for what was expected of Franmil Bell, absolutely not.
Nah,
He gets a
all
K.
right. K for him. I like that. We should use K instead of F.
He's worse than an F.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, from one
For
disappointing to a guy
$16.5
who
million,
has...
that's going to become a $33 million albatross. That's a K. Go ahead.
Next up, arguably the biggest surprise in a good way of the Guardian season. How about Josh Naylor? A+, A-, and Jason with an A. So A's across the board.
A+ for a guy that 2 months ago was screaming, he can't hit against left-handers.
He can't.
And you give him an A+.
That means
And you give him an A+.
That means
Because he played at an all-star level.
He did.
He should have been on the all-star team. For a guy who I think is a good player, but not an all-star player,
Yeah.
he's
It's just
still
funny.
not.
It's just funny.
No,
It's
I
just
hear
funny.
you. He's still not good against lefties, but we still can't play him against good lefties.
Against good lefties.
I can leave him
I don't
in
want to
against
see
the
him
crappy
against
lefties.
Shane McClanahan.
No.
I agree with you on that.
But against crappy lefties, I can live with it.
All right, up next, and I'm very curious to see where you guys land on the grading scales for this guy.
Yeah.
How about Stephen Kwan? G with a C, Jason with a C, and Bull with a D+. Bull, the lowest grader of all.
I think
Why
he's
a
been
D+?
a massive disappointment this year. Massive. I loved what I saw from him last year. And of all the young players that I thought could go backwards in year two, he was the one I was convinced would not. And he has.
Yeah, he has.
He's
He's
been
striking out more. He's just not seeing it as well.
Right now, he's a not. Listen, Stephen Kwan, he's a really good fielder.
Yeah.
But his one skill set was his ability to put the bat on the ball consistently, and he's not doing that this year. So he's basically useless as an offensive player if he's not doing that.
I wouldn't say he's useless, but he's not having the season that he had last year, and he's not what I thought he would be this year. And maybe it's just a second-year regression.
Yeah, I think he could bounce back second half of the year or next year.
I think D+ is a little harsh, but
my expectations for him were high.
we're higher. That's fair. I agree with that part. Yeah.
We did before the season our prop bets for the Guardians.
Yeah.
And Jay, and this is not to rag on Jay because we all said take the over on his hits and average.
Yeah.
Jay said if he doesn't have at least 185 hits, that was his guaranteed stone cold Jay Crawford lock of the century.
Yeah.
And he is currently not on
But
pace to get relatively
With
close
a
to
player,
that number.
with a player that's not a power hitter, he has to be, for them to feel good about what you're capable of. You got to be hitting 285, 290.
No. He's got to be hitting 320. Stephen Kwan's got to be a 320 hitter, or he's not an everyday player.
I mean, who's hitting 320?
There's only 2 guys in the league hitting 320 right now.
Who's hitting 320?
How many guys in the league can't hit home runs and play every day?
That was not. That was. I don't actually disagree.
I mean,
think 320 might be a little high.
I mean, 310.
7 on the Guardians.
310.
You
310.
I don't want, if you can't hit 300, okay?
I think 300's a more fair.
If you
that's a
can't
fair
hit,
would
if you
say
have no
310.
power, you got to hit 300 or have some power.
And walks, walks
right,
fast.
or
And
good
still-
on base,
and
whatever.
still bases,
if you
and
can't
big
get
home
on
run.
base at a high rate
Right.
and have no power, you're useless offensively.
And guess what? They got 2 guys in the outfield like that.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving.
3.
It's not like Will Brennan's got a ton of power
Hey, listen,
at this point. But at least Velasquez is going to hit some home runs in 2028.
Yeah.
There you go. Go ahead.
I'm a fan of anyone named Ralphie. That's just a great
It is a
name.
good name,
I'm
yeah.
rooting for Ralphie.
Yeah.
All right, next up, a guy who before the season signed a 9-figure deal with the Guardians. How about Andres Jimenez? How would you grade him through the first 90 games of the season? A D from Bull, a C from G. And what do we got from Jason?
D.
A D. So 2 Ds
Yeah.
and a C. G, you start us off, then Jason, you rebuke.
He came on a little better than he started off, but his start is warranted of the D's that they gave him. 248, that's not going to get it done. His glove work is what it is, but there's too many Guardians. We keep talking about that glove work and no hitting. 7 home runs, they didn't give you $100 million for that. And so you got to look at it. If you are looking at the money that they've given out, right? You say, Bell, why you give him that deal? You got Straw, why you give him that deal? Jimenez has not lived up to that deal. Granted, this is the second year after he got it. But
First year after he got it.
First year.
After the extension.
And so I can't look at anybody on the staff and say, or on the team and be like, well, that was a great deal right there, except for Jose's. And, I mean, right now he's not living up to it.
I think he had 9 RBIs in like middle of May.
Yeah.
So he's peated up a little bit.
Right.
Obviously hasn't lived up to what we expected, hasn't lived up to the contract. I'm still bullish on him long term. I think he'll be okay long term, but this hasn't been a good first half of the year for him.
I wonder if he was trying to live up to that contract too
Maybe.
much, if that was on his mind.
Maybe.
Especially early in the season.
Sure.
All right, Mikey.
Next up, the shortstop, Amed Rosario. How would you grade him through 90 games?
You know what? This is kind
He's
of
a tough one because he was so bad the first 2
And
months.
now he's hot.
And he played really well in June. I had, medium expectations for him.
You know what?
A C from Bull, a B- from G, and a C- from Jason. Jason, you're the low man here. Why so low on Amed Rosario?
I just have never been high on him. I didn't like the talk of extension before the season. I thought that was kind of bonkers. I don't think he's an ideal number 2 hitter. I don't
Can't
think
play the field.
He's not great defensively.
No.
He's gotten better since he got here. He's certainly improved, but he's not a great shortstop defensively. I think he's a jag, and I'm just not really impressed. He has gotten better lately. He's always terrible in April. He always heats up as the summer goes. He'll have a couple big games. He'll have some 4 and 5 hit games that he wins them going forward. Happens every year, and that's great and that's fine. But overall, I think he's a jag.
To me, listen, I don't expect much of him. So because my expectations are that he's a guy that won't be on this roster long term. He's just a guy that kind of peters around and fills in and does his thing before he's gone. But if you saying that there's a lot of guys that are like that on this team. Shane Bieber ain't gonna be here. Guess what? He's not playing as well. There's a lot of other people. Nope. Will Brennan, he looks like he might not be part of that outfield. He's not playing as well. But Rosario, he just keeps plugging along and get his hits here or there, and he'll have a couple games like Jason said where he'll go for 3 for 4 and have a couple runs scored, and you'll be like, oh, not that bad.
So far, Naylor and Ramirez are the only good grades.
All right, next up, you guys ready?
Yeah.
How about my guy, my personal best friend, the killer of all birds, the Sultan of SWAT 2.0? How about Will Brennan? If there's not an A+ for all 3 of you, I'm kicking you off the set.
I want to see his numbers. Do you have his numbers?
What are his numbers?
Do we have Will Brennan's numbers? Jason, that's the worst question you've ever asked on the show.
Oh, I'm sure there's worse.
He's hitting a very nice 269, 5 home runs, 26 RBIs, 6 stolen bases.
If you were hitting 269 and you are a corner outfielder,
now what's funny is
you need to
Quan
have 15 home runs.
What's Quan hitting? Quan's numbers are almost
Quan's hitting
identical to that.
263 with 2 home runs and 27 RBIs.
And like 17 stolen bases. Quan, there you go. So Quan got, what do we give Quan, a C- or D?
No, y'all gave him
C-.
D's.
I give him a D-.
I gave him a
D,
C.
And I'm giving Brennan a B for almost identical numbers. But
How?
Expectations coming in.
I gave him a C+.
I give him a B because he wasn't supposed to be an everyday player at the start of the year. So you
Right,
talk about
but he's not
expectations.
playing like an everyday player.
Well, he's probably doing about what I thought that he would do with everyday at bats, but he was not expected to get everyday at bats at the start of the year.
And he
I think
shouldn't be
he's
getting
fine.
everyday bats.
I mean, realistically, he's probably a 4th outfielder. Realistically.
yeah.
He's average.
I don't know that they have any starting outfielders. I hope Quan is.
I think I would be fine
Miles
with
Straw's definitely not a starting outfielder.
I would be fine with Quan as the everyday center fielder going forward, and that's a change from where I was last year. I liked him in left field last year, but I've seen enough. I'd like to see Quan in center every day.
Right, because you got it. Because it's done enough with Straw. Right?
Well, I was never that high on him, but I understood it.
Wait. Miles Straw is the last of our offensive players to grade. So before we get into a Straw discussion, how would you grade Miles Straw?
Oh.
Bull.
I just want to make sure we have a grade on it before. I see Bull writing very angrily. G with a D-. I'm going to guess Bull gives him an F7 minuses. Slapdick.
That's his grade. Not appropriate with kids in the room, but I wasn't thinking about
You
it.
did hold that up.
C. Yes. We knew what he was.
Wow!
No, listen.
Wow!
Why he's been even worse?
No, he's worse than
He's
you
exactly
thought.
what you thought he was going to be.
Jason,
he's elite defensively. He can't hit.
He's
We
not
knew
elite
that.
defensively. If you look at
come
not this year,
on.
he hasn't been.
You gave that man a C?
Because I had no expectations for him. He's
Jason,
exactly what I thought he
If you
was.
look at the analytics on defense, which are flawed, I give you that. But that's what he.
Oh, hell no. Hell, 236.
Jason,
He is exactly what we thought he would be.
He's not elite this year defensively. Okay, he's not. He's not been great defensively. I know he made a great relay throw. That one great relay throw doesn't make him great defensively. He has the worst OPS or the second worst OPS in all of baseball. He's a horrible player, and he should not be starting.
But I'm basing it on the expectations,
I get it,
which
but
were
still,
very, very low.
But I think he's been even worse. But whatever.
I mean, maybe. That's why I didn't give him an A. I gave him a C.
Hold on. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. This is why you have to go ahead and write this down.
By the way, Miles.
Did you expect him to hit 300 this year?
No, but here's the deal. By the way, Miles, for all this talk about, if Miles Straw was in a good lineup, Miles Straw is not starting for any good team in baseball besides the Guardians. None. Zero. You know why? Because every other team has a good defensive center.
I'm not saying he's having a good year. I'm not saying he's having a good year. I'm saying I had no expectations for him anyway. He's like the one guy that hasn't been a massive disappointment because we were disappointed already.
We've been trashed so long, we forget what real grades look like. Now, if we're going to compare some people, we just said we got a bunch of people in the outfield batting 220 and 230, no home runs. But this is what people like me.
It's really pathetic.
This is what we used to have.
Oh, I know. Believe
Kenny Lofton.
I know.
Sitter, Albert Bell, and Manny Ramirez. This is what we used to have. We cut our left arm to get one of these dudes back. And when they fell off. But now we get Straw. And these guys that bat 225, and
pathetic.
This is tough. It's tough for me to do it.
By the way, Quan, a good stat by Steve Becker. Quan has already struck out 48 times this year, struck out 60 times all of last season.
He's not seen it as well.
Nope.
Crazy. All right, before we get to the pitchers, I want to recap what we did on the hitters. Josh Naylor was an A, Jose was a B, and we had mixed bag of results for literally everyone else. I'm going to read some chat grades for the pitching staff as we go through the pitchers here. And whenever we read grades from the chat or comments from the chat, it's brought to us by our dear friends at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So after we're done giving grades, I'll read a couple from the chat.
Somebody just died.
G's playing video games on his phone.
Jay, you good?
Yeah, man, Miles Straw.
A read is not a time to check out here because we have a couple more pitchers
Call of Duty on
that
G's
are
phone.
very important. And let's start with the guy who we've talked about more on the mound than anyone else in a Guardians uniform this year, Shane Bieber, who may or may not be a Guardian by the end of the year. But how would you grade him through the first 90 games
What's Shane's
of the season?
ERA right now? I know he's just been
Shane's
absolutely
ERA, I
hammered.
believe.
By the way,
is
Miles
3.9.
Straw in center field tied for 14th in defensive run saved.
What's wrong with that?
That's not elite, and he brings nothing else to the table.
He has a 3.77 ERA, Jason.
Okay, who's the first one?
Shane Bieber.
3-7. What's his win-loss record? Even though Bull tells me that doesn't matter anymore.
Bull's win-loss record is 5-6.
Okay.
Bulls win-loss.
Not
My
Bulls,
win-loss
excuse
record?
me.
I got a much better win-loss record than that.
Bull thinks he's undefeated. He's not.
No, not undefeated. 95%.
C- for Shane. Bull's painting a Picasso over there.
Nah, I'm just thinking about it.
D.
A D for Shane Bieber.
You know what?
Dang.
D minus.
Oh!
Even worse.
Wow.
He's not. I expected it.
But
Ace.
we knew going into the season that his velocity was down, his margin for error
But he
was.
pitched better last year.
And he got off to a good start this year, and he's just been dreadful his last couple of starts.
He got off to a good start.
Yeah. Go look at his numbers after his first few starts.
How many elite starts has he had this year? Probably one.
I don't know.
Two.
But early on, we were saying, I don't know how he's doing it, but he's getting guys out. His slider's working.
But he's not been dominant all year.
No, he
And
hasn't been.
He's been a huge disappointment.
And again, I've said it 100 times on here, whether it's the sticky stuff for the shoulder, he's not the same pitcher that he was the year of the Cy Young.
Yeah.
He's just not. But I'd still say it's a C-, just
All
based
right,
on
I'm
expectations.
going D minus.
Okay. Next up, no, I'm going to read some chat grades. I forgot. We got a couple C's. Bailey Dietrich says C. Tequila Mockingbird, C. Ayo Rage says C. Oliver Rourke says D. So about on par with where we go. Next up, and this is going to be a tough one, and I hate to do this to my guy, but Cal Quantrill, how would you grade the first part of his 2023 season?
Oh, man, this guy, he's a funny dude.
Looks like a sideways 4.
That's a
Upside down 4 now.
I don't want to say what that kind of looks like, yeah.
There
You're
you
one
go.
line away from something really bad there, Bull.
Yeah.
That's an F. I'm assuming it is an F, right?
yeah.
A C minus. And
You had
Jason.
high hopes of Cal Quantrill?
I thought he'd be.
I mean, he was unbeaten at home last year.
I thought he'd be a solid
number 3, number 4 guy.
3-4 starter.
Yeah.
He's a
been
6.5 ERA.
He's been unstartable.
He was hurt.
He has minimal. He don't got electric stuff.
No, but
No.
there's plenty of pitchers that have nice careers without electric stuff. Good, solid pitchers.
I mean, I don't know if that's the case.
I gave
today.
Shane Bieber a D minus,
Yeah.
and he's been way better than Quantrill.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane Bieber has better stuff than Quantrill.
I know that, but that's why I was harsh with the grades. I had expectations.
Kyle Quantrill is medium sauce. He's medium
Right,
sauce.
but he is. But he's pitched like
and he's pitched below
garbage.
medium sauce.
Yeah.
He's
Pitched like Parmesan garlic.
well.
You're anti-Parmesan garlic?
I'm not a big Parmesan.
I don't like
It has to
Parmesan. I
be.
love garlic.
See, they think because you throw Parmesan and garlic, you can get rid of the rest of the seasoning. No, it still needs salt. It still needs seasoning. Stop just coming in with that Parmesan.
Why can't I get garlic wings without the Parmesan? I like garlic.
I
but I don't
like Parmesan better than garlic. I don't mind. Yeah, you know what? I'm not as down on Parmesan garlic as I
You're
thought.
back in.
I'm
You were
back
out.
in.
Now you're in.
I'm back in.
All right, next.
Next, this is a in totality grade.
You want to do the fans?
Oh
for
yeah, I gotta
Quantrill?
keep getting the fans in. We got F next. Joe Roscoe is saying he's been injured though, but still not great. Lawrence Goggins says D. Eric Spice says he's horrendous. Rourke says F. Disregard injury.
Man,
He's
got
been
one.
awful. D at absolute best. All right, next. This is not including Class A. This is the rest of the bullpen outside of Emmanuel Class A. How would you grade the Guardians bullpen, which was their strength last year, minus their closer?
That's hard.
Including De La Soul. I don't call him De La Soul.
De La
He's
Soul.
De La Soul. Like Hinches. Yeah, they ain't like they was last year. They not like they was.
I'm going
last
C. Yeah, we're all on the same.
I threw a
page,
slash in there at the end. C to C minus.
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
I mean, the bullpen's been disappointing. It's been better, I feel like, lately.
Yeah.
And there's some guys who are doing, fine. Karinchak's been a huge
Yep.
disappointment.
Yep.
Their bullpen is like okay right now. We expected it to
I don't
be
trust
really
Stefan at all. I know he got the multi-year
Yeah.
deal, but I don't trust Trevor
good. No,
Stefan.
I don't either. So,
What about Emmanuel Clase, the closer? Leads the league in saves, also leads the league in blown saves. How would you grade the Guardians all-star closer through 90 games of the 2023 season?
that's a really tough one for me.
It is
too.
really
B
tough.
plus for G.
He's overworked.
I
too.
give him a B minus. Just based on expectation. He does lead the league in saves. He is an
Yeah.
all-star, but he's also been hit a little bit, hasn't had quite as dominant of a year as he's had in the
I'm
past.
with Jason. I'm a B minus
it's a
also.
B minus.
I thought about going C plus even, because it's weird. The saves are so high. It's
know.
hard to be critical.
I know,
I mean,
but
He's
that's
had a lot
product-
of games where he hasn't been good.
That's
He
the product
plays
of all the-
every game.
Right.
He
it's
does. It seems like he pitches every game.
I'm glad he took All-Star break off. I
Yeah,
said that
yeah,
earlier
yeah.
on the show. Shut him down. I didn't want him to pitch.
Yeah.
He needs the time off.
Tito got him on that Walmart schedule. They go stock them shelves and clock out.
He might be one of the toughest guys to grade because his highs have been high. He's just
Good
had more
gracious.
lows than we saw last
Yeah.
year.
Speaking of Walmart, I heard this comedian. I can't remember who it was now saying. I can't remember who it was. But anyway, he's like, I'm sick of this. Everybody wins a trophy at Little League. Which
Yeah.
Everybody complains about that. I think 95% of people don't like everybody wins a trophy. So this idea that there's so many people that want everybody to win a trophy, I don't believe that. However, he did have a good line. He's like, you got to admit there are winners and losers in life. Just go to Walmart at midnight. He goes, those people make The Walking Dead look like they're walking the red carpet.
Hey man, and hold on, they even stopped opening them 24 hours a day now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a lot. Walmart's new close time is like 10.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah, we about to
All right, we
be here
got
all
three
day.
more, guys.
Yeah.
3 more, and then we will get to one of my college buddies, Ian Steele, who's checking in from Providence to help us break down some Guardians draft picks here. How would you grade the contingent, the young pitchers for the Guardians that they've brought up this year? Allen, Williams, and Bybee.
Put them together?
Throw them all in one.
I don't like that.
You want to do it individually? I was just trying to make sure we got it.
It is a baseball rule. We know it is called 95. It is the Braves. It is Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. We shall put them in a threesome.
I'm going to throw.
Whoa.
I'm going to
pause.
Hello.
Big pause.
Super duper.
I'm going to write a grade for each individually.
I followed the rules. I'm a rule follower.
Thank you, Jason.
1 grade.
Hey, man, that's the only reason to watch the Guardians is these young boys.
I mean, Williams has barely pitched. What has he made, 3 starts?
3 starts.
Easy. It's easy money. Think about it. If you had any other rookies coming up, Bieber's played like terribleness. They gave him a terrible grade. McKenzie hasn't even pitched all year. And the Guardians are in first place with rookies. That's an A immediately. They ain't got no sticks.
I got an A for Bybee, a B for Williams, and a B- for Allen.
And if you balance all those out, I gave him a B+. Yeah, I gave him a B+.
I appreciate the detailed breakdown. It makes sense. I mean, we just haven't seen a ton from Gavin Williams. Bybee's been really good.
Bybee's been really good.
It's a shame we only are going to be able to keep one of them. Nah.
Do you realize Bybee's pitched the second most innings of any pitcher on the Guardians this year?
Yeah, not a surprise.
I mean, he came up.
Savali's been hurt. McKenzie's been hurt.
We're going to have the conversation.
Quantrill is hurt now. I say in air quotes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was. I thought that the first time he went on the DL he was hurt because they were just trying to make room. But now I kind of think it's legit. But we're going to start having the discussion here soon about shutting these guys down or spreading out their innings or hitting innings limits with Bybee, especially with Bybee.
Hey, hold on.
That starts to happen in the playoffs.
No. How you gonna shut the man down and it's the playoffs?
These things are so dumb. It doesn't work. They shut down Steven Strasburg. How'd that work out? He's still hurt. These guys are gonna get hurt. These innings limits are stupid.
Crazy.
To a point.
I'm just telling you.
I know. It's dumb. I don't like it.
Hang on. I'm gonna pull it up. Go ahead. Stall for 30 seconds. Let me pull it up.
All right. We have 2 more grades.
Yeah.
We are going to do.
Just crazy.
And then we got the chat full poll. Who's calling me from Houston, Texas right now? I'll have to get back to you later, sir.
All right.
Or ma'am, whoever you are. How about would you grade Terry Francona through the first 90 games of the season?
Terry has not done a good job. It's been one of his worst seasons. I got him with a D.
Bull.
Remember, Francona,
I gave him a B because they're right on pace for what they've done every year. We were screaming and hollering about how bad they were, and if you went back and looked at the numbers, Mike, didn't we do this like 2 weeks ago? They were like right on pace for last year.
1 game worse than they were last year.
After 90?
No, through 84 games, they were 1 game worse.
So I can't – it feels worse because expectations were a little bit higher this year, obviously. So I'm not going to give them an A.
They had no expectations. We're grading it on the scale. My expectations were much higher.
Yeah, and that's why I gave him a B.
And I think he's made a lot he's not the best in-game manager to begin with. That's not his strength. I think he's done a poor job this year.
I think he's done. First of all, he's thrown Clase way too much. He did not bring Naylor up quick enough, and Oscar Gonzalez is just somewhere in the shadow realm.
Naylor was not his call.
I don't blame him for that. Oscar Gonzalez 100% should be in the big leagues right now and playing every day. Let's go.
And last but not least, and shout out to the YouTube community tab, over 800 votes in this poll. The Guardians got a C+ from ESPN as a team through the first 90 games of the season. How would you grade the Guardians in totality up to this point? 90 games in, they currently sit in first place with a 45-45 record.
You want that from us? Let's see, where's these dudes, man?
I was trying to look up Bybee numbers. What are we grading? The Guardians season?
As a team.
D.
Bybee's thrown 70 innings, has a 3.34 ERA.
No, I was trying to look for his minor league last year, his innings total from last year.
You give him a D, G with a C-, and Jason with a C-.
They're a first place team. I can't give them a D.
I mean,
first place only because of the division.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do with them. I mean, if they're in any other division, they're out of it.
Yeah, and if they're in the East, I'm probably giving them a D-.
F. If they're another C-. Once again, I told you yesterday, the Guardians are the college girlfriend. You know, you might not be with them in a couple months or a couple years, but at the end of the day, you're gonna ride that thing out until April. You're not gonna break up with her in November of that year. You'll figure it out. So yeah, C-, and you know, it's no hard feelings. You just say it's what it is. The only thing, the saving grace for them, is their young pitching staff. Right? People want to tune in to see their young pitching staff. People like it. And by the way, I feel sorry. Because if the Guardians really did put some money into it, I want to see what the economics would look like, because the attendance is going way up. People are buzzing about going down to the park, day 45 or 45, and they seem to hit something in a little bit of stride when it comes to that attendance. So I want to see them continue to keep winning it during the down the backstretch. But it'd be surprising what they could do if they just go get one more bat.
All right, Mikey.
And with that, it is 12 o'clock, which means it's the lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And this week, the Call It Companies Championship is going on down at the beautiful Firestone Country Club in Akron. The Senior PGA Tour is starting today, goes through the weekend. And, we are their biggest fans and sponsors. And even more exciting on the show today is when we get to bring in someone I know very well. Ian Steele, my old Emerson College alum, is making his UCSS debut to talk about one of the Guardians' top players they drafted in the draft, Alex Clemmie out of Rhode Island. What's up, Ian? How you doing, man?
Mike Lucas, great to be back on with you, man. It's been a while. I think the last time I saw you was about 5 or 6 years ago in the Tri-Cities. We got some good German food, whatever that was, wherever you took me.
We did.
That was a great time. But great to see you doing so well. And you mentioned the golf tournament that was just going on, or that's about to be going on. I saw Billy Andrade throw out the first pitch at the Guardians game a couple days ago. He's a Rhode Island guy as well, so he's trying to spread the word about that. So there's always a Rhode Island connection, despite it being the smallest state in the land. It's funny. You guys probably say that about Cleveland as well, but it always seems like there's a Rhode Island connection with everything that we do.
Ian, Mike is babbling about Emerson College every 8 seconds here, and he makes it seem like he should have been the starting point guard for Kansas or Duke. The way he talks, is he that good a player or no? What say you?
I think, first of all, Emerson basketball is kind of running the NBA right now, so watch out, because Mike Lucas might be signing and trading your favorite player in a few years if he wants to. But one thing I know about Mike Lucas, he goes down in history as maybe the only Emerson Lions basketball player to make more three-pointers than two-pointers in his career. My guy was a straight shooter.
Big facts.
That is
Big
an unusual stat.
Sniper, huh?
Did he have a high percentage,
Absolutely.
or was he a chucker?
You could be honest, Ian. I didn't play a lot, so the numbers both very low.
No, we'll say high percentage and a chucker. When he got in, you shoot your shot. That's what you got to do, and that's what Mike Lucas did on some really good teams. I remember they upset the number one team in Division III, Amherst, back in the day. We were broadcasting the game, so Mike Lucas. Yeah. Big leader on those Emerson teams.
Yeah, I called a game at Amherst once. That gym is that's a tough gym to play at.
They came here that year, but that gym sucked.
Yeah, it was at Emerson. So we were underground at Piano Row, with two rows of students watching Mike Lucas do his thing.
All right, did we lose Ian?
No, he's still there. He's driving. Ian, we did bring you on, though, because this week the Guardians drafted your guy, Alex Clemmie, in the second round.
Right.
Out of Bishop Hendrickson High School, the 6'6" lefty who throws high 90s. He was committed to Vanderbilt but said he's going to sign with the Guardians. What can you tell us about Alex Clemmie? As we get through a little connection issues.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 6'6". You got me? Sorry.
All right, we got you back in. You're good. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. No. He's 6'6". Feels like he's been 6'6" since his sophomore year. Big, strong, left-handed pitcher. He tops out at 98. He's consistently in the mid-90s. He throws a breaking ball, kind of a slider, changeup, slurve type of thing. He's working on his changeup. Throws a curveball / slider slurve type of deal. We went to pretty much every one of his starts that we could get to at ABC6 at my station, just because we knew this kid was going to go day one. He was projected early on as a potentially a first-round pick, fell a little bit on draft night to the end of the second round, going 58 overall, but the raw stuff is clearly there with Clemmy.
And he looks like a decent-sized kid. You know, we always worry with the pitchers when Tristan McKenzie here, for example, has had injury issues. He's really super thin. I mean, just watching that video, it looks like, you know, for a high schooler, he looks fairly put together, pretty, you know, somewhat broad in the upper body, which is important for a pitcher. But he still probably has some room to grow there, I would think. What do you think of his physical makeup there, Ian?
Yeah, for sure. He's put on some muscle in this past year, as high school kids do. I remember we went out to do a feature story on a team that he was playing, and then all of a sudden, this guy shows up onto the scene and is mowing guys down. And at that point, he was, you know, tall, skinny, lanky, kind of a Chris Sale type. But this past year, he's put on a lot of muscle. He's been in the gym consistently, and he still does have some room to grow for sure. Maybe in his bottom half, he's, you know, got the tall, skinny legs, but he's definitely put on muscle so far. And to be fair, he just turned 18 years old, I think the day after the draft. So Cleveland drafted a 17-year-old kid, and he's still got a few years of growing in him.
And by the time they're done with their sorcery, he'll be throwing 114 miles an hour.
Yeah, probably.
The way that Cleveland handles their pitchers. Was it always known that he was going to forego college? You know, we knew he was a Vanderbilt commit, but there are some guys who make it clear they're going to college, and there's other guys who are like, yeah, but I'm really open to going to the MLB.
It wasn't a sure thing. We talked to him the day after the draft, and it seemed like he didn't make his decision at that point. He was going back and forth, going to Vanderbilt. Obviously, you guys know Vanderbilt's a college baseball powerhouse. He goes there for 3 years and comes back out. Maybe he is the first round pick that he was once projected to go as. So it came down, it was a 24-hour, maybe 72-hour, 48-hour decision for him. And then the day after we talked to him, he announced that he was going to sign. So it wasn't a slam dunk, especially after he went late second. We were thinking, you know, is he going to go back and maybe get his grade back up to a first-round grade? But in the end, he made the decision the other day, and he's certainly signing. His slot's around $1.4 million.
Ian, you know, Jason alluded to the Guardians' elite ability, as you know, along with Tampa Bay as much as anybody, their ability to draft and develop pitchers. I wonder if that factored in for him at all in his decision. I mean, they turn all their good pitchers into better pitchers without any exceptions, really.
For sure. I just heard you guys go down the list of the grades for this current Cleveland Guardians team, and you know, Bieber, a Cleveland guy. You go down the list, you know, drafted, developed, and now they're in the big leagues. And I think the relationship with Clemmy and the Guardians was there from the get-go. They interviewed him right away. He was open and honest with them about what he thinks his upside can be. I think they aligned in that sense. And he knows that Cleveland has a track record of developing pitchers into all-stars, into big league players within their own system, and they don't give them away if they have a highly prized prospect in trades and things like that. So he knows that the homegrown system is something that he can use to his advantage to eventually get to the big leagues. I'm sure it played a factor. You know, you can go to one baseball development system in Vanderbilt, or you can get paid and get developed at the same time. Right. So that's what he's going to do.
And you know, Bull laughs and jokes, Ian, about these dudes. You know, say we love our prospects. We just got to wait till 2036 to see them. Yeah. Which one of these guys? And this is impossible to do. Which one of these guys, if you had to stake your claim or your name to fame on, which one of these guys will we see quickest, or we'll see, you know, the fastest? Is it a pitcher? Is it one of the power hitters? Who are we going to see in Cleveland first?
I think in general, you can always look at the draft board and say college bats or college arms are going to rise up quickest. And Clemmy, who's a 17-year-old, now 18-year-old high school pitcher, might take a little bit of time. You know, Clemmy, there's some questions about whether he's going to continue to be a starter, which he was in high school, or if he's going to end up in the bullpen and just throw gas out of there. He's consistently thrown, you know, like I said, in the mid-90s, and he taps out at around 98 on his fastball. He's got to work on his third pitch, and then he'll see where he lands on the roster once he gets to the pros. But as of now, you know, Clemmy might take a little bit of time just so Cleveland can figure out what they want to do with him.
Ian, we appreciate the time, man. We'll be keeping an eye on this kid as well as the other Guardians draft picks that they are all obsessed with. We love it. Thank you, Ian. We appreciate the time, man.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, guys. Anytime.
All right, if you got any bad stories to tell about Mike, save them up for a special show we're going to do where we rip him for an entire 2 hours.
Well, I want to know why you guys call him McNuggets, because he used to call me Bacon, so now we're both delicious.
Fair.
Why did you call him Bacon?
So listen, Ian, they call me McNuggets because on literally the third show, we had Joe Thomas on, Hall of Fame left tackle, and he called me McNuggets. And once Joe Thomas calls you something, it sticks.
Yeah.
I still don't know why I ever started calling Ian Bacon. I just did. I was like, that sounds cool. You're Bacon from now on. And I just called him Bacon.
So,
and no one else did besides me. It never stuck.
So back in the day, we used to do it was called WEBN Sports. It was like our weekly Sports Center show. And there was a song that we put under the highlights called Iron Bacon. And I think it kind of stemmed from that. Iron Bacon. My last name is Steele. Steele, Iron, Bacon is what I remember you trying to work on that with me. So if you guys go to break and come back with Iron Bacon, you got a viewer for life.
Are you related to Justin Steele, Cubs pitcher?
I am not. Not that I know
But
of.
wait,
Maybe somewhere
Ian,
down the line.
Do you remember Libby Murphy from Emerson? She's married to Justin Steele.
I do.
She has 2 kids with Justin Steele.
Oh, really?
That's
Yes.
crazy.
And Justin Steele pitched
That's
against Cal Quantrill
wild.
the other day. Cal Quantrill's married to Easton Ashby, Emerson College women's basketball player. We had a Emerson husband,
Look at this.
Cleveland Guardians, Chicago Cubs pitching matchup the other day.
This guy's
That's
amazing, bro.
Good work.
A
there.
small
This guy.
school at the corner of Boylston and Tremont. You never know what you're going to get.
Awesome. Ian Bacon, thanks again,
Ian.
man. We will we'll chat soon.
Anytime,
Gary.
guys. Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
Ian. All right, Mike. Look who we have in studio. We haven't seen him in forever.
OG's back in the building.
Here.
Brad just got a tan down in Vegas. Brad, how were you in Vegas the whole time?
No, I was in Vegas they had a Retired Players Association meeting in Vegas. It coincided.
Oh, that's
with
right.
it.
I saw a picture
Yeah.
of you. Who were you with in that picture? You probably took a million
Yeah,
pictures.
million. But
A couple of your former teammates.
Oh, that was Elson Turner and Charles Davis played with me in Chicago. I mean, I saw a bunch of guys. David McDaniel I played with. Sam Perkins, Detlef Shrimp. I mean, Michael Adams. David Thompson. I saw David Thompson.
High flyer.
Yes, David Thompson like 6'2". I was like,
High flyer.
I thought you were taller.
Yeah, that was a picture. Oh, there you go, Chuck.
Yeah. No, that's the message to the rest of them. Like,
Oh, God, I see what you're saying.
We'll see you next year.
You can catch you on the flip side. We did not see Charles Oakley.
No. I was like, ooh, are there any good Scottie Pippen stories?
Hey, listen, we were.
Well,
OG said we working behind the scenes
We're
on that.
trying to do some healing.
Now, Brad,
Come together.
Some healing.
Brad, we got to get into this because I want to know where you stand. G and Earl.
Oh, God.
First of all, Summer League always meant nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it has its value, but like we never evaluated it as if it was meaningful in any way because
True.
it doesn't mean it means nothing towards what happens in the NBA. However, both G and Earl, I think Emoni Bates, based on Summer League, is going to be the next superstar.
We never said that.
I'm exaggerating.
You're exaggerating.
But it sounds better if
Not
I
by
exaggerate.
much.
Not by much.
much.
But I will tell
Especially
you.
in your case. The guy was drafted where he was drafted for a reason. Doesn't mean he can't be a player, but what are the odds, A, that he's any kind of factor this year, and are they going over the top, or are you as excited about him also?
Well, let me preface this by
Yeah.
saying this. You know, you had a late second round selection.
Yeah.
Chance of you striking gold there's slim.
Right.
Slim.
Nothing.
Right.
Right. So I give him kudos for taking an attempt.
Sure.
Now this kid's got some baggage, right? Now I'm not just saying. I was with some people from the Players Association from Eastern Michigan and from the Detroit area. He got some baggage, right? But they tell me if somebody can harness it, he ain't never been harnessed, right? If he can conform, maybe, right? Now I will tell you what I saw out there the first day. What do you have, Jay? 14? Took like 19 shots?
Took more shots than passes.
19 shots, no assists. Yeah. The first thing I said, this is not going to work. It's not going to work. You can't play like this.
Yeah.
Now the second day, when they played Memphis, much better. Under control, looked to make some pass. Wasn't trying to do everything, right? This is a long shot. This is here. We're not walking to talk about a top 5 ball player, right?
Yeah.
Not top 5 selection. This is going to be a person that has to be mined. We don't know where this is going to go.
Right.
Right. Now I would just tell you the people from Michigan that where he's from, saying, he only need a lot of molding.
Yeah.
A lot of molding. Right. And they're just giving it to me. These are people I know and played with.
Right.
They give
They're
it to
telling
me
you straight answer.
Like he's gonna be. He said because he has never been. He's never been molded, right? And now you're gonna find out what you got. See, because for him, Jay, this is where he is. If you don't get here, where you going?
Where you going?
Where you going?
You're going to Europe.
Maybe.
My concern, Brad, is like
Poland.
You almost feel like if this kid would have ended up in San Antonio or Miami, an organization that has a history of really developing long shots, then maybe it would have been better. The Cavs don't really have that. I don't know. Do you think they're the right organization to handle all his stuff?
Well, I tell you this. They have the people they have on the team are good core people. Right?
That's true.
You don't have no wild cards running
That's
around
true,
here,
yeah.
right? Now you can only hope some of that rubs off on a young player. Now I was fortunate coming up. I was reminded of this at the meeting, Jason. Bill Cartwright. Everybody knows Bill Cartwright. Yeah. When he got to Chicago, we traded him for Charles O. He gets to Chicago. Takes me under his wing. You know what he says to me? He said, "Let me tell you something. In this world, you're going to be told no 1,000 times, or something that you couldn't do right 1,000 times." And then what he said with that is, followed up with that, he said, "But those people have to be ignored." And I've never forgotten that. Now, so you think about that when you go through life, right? Because there's 1,000 people out there saying this kid is not going to do a thing, right? Now it's up to him. Is he going to conform?
Nope.
Because if you conform, Jason will tell you, G knows, we have a need. We were playing, and this is nothing against Isaac Coral. We were playing 4-on-5.
Get to it.
That's just, I'm keeping 100 with you.
Get to it.
We can't play in a playoff like that. I can play an 82-game season like that, but I can't play in a playoff game like that.
Yep.
We're playing 4. So they have a need for a person that can be a dynamic threat, right?
And that's what the exciting part is.
That's what. And when I saw the second game in Memphis, right? Did you see that second game in Memphis? The city game in Memphis?
I was on the plane.
I've seen that, yeah.
So the second game in Memphis, I said I'm sitting baseline courtside, right? Kobe's over there. Darius Garland, Mobley,
Whole
Donovan
squad.
Mitchell. They're all right
Whole
here.
team.
Right? I'm like from here to the TV. That's that far I was away. And I'm sitting there like this. Ed Pinckney's behind me. And I'm sitting here like.
You were sitting with Ed Pinckney?
Yeah, Ed
That's my guy.
So Ed was
my
behind
guy.
me. And I'm sitting here and I'm like this. I lean back to Ed. He said the same thing. Like,
Who been in his ear? Because the gameplay was
yeah,
different.
it was different. Yeah, well, he got eviscerated after that first thing.
Like,
I watched that. I was like, no, this is not Eastern Michigan. We're not doing that.
He came back out that last game against Memphis, 2-on-1 break. I said, he pulling up. No.
He did like this. He dropping it off.
I said, okay.
I'm like, okay.
I said, listen, I want to see you get to the rim. A couple times he had to step out. I'm gonna get to the rim.
It wasn't wild.
It wasn't playground.
Right, it wasn't that. So
Now-
we will see
When he
where
plays
it's going.
against NBA
The
players.
odds are that it doesn't work out. That's what the odds are, right?
Yeah.
But he has a chance to rewrite that. He has some talent. We don't know how much talent he is.
But as a rookie, there should be zero expectations,
Well,
right?
I would say zero expectation because just where your career went in college. Because you went from the cover of Sports Illustrated, right,
To the MAC.
to Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
And they said he had a chance to go to Michigan when he left Memphis. And they told me the Michigan boys told me he was talking crazy in Michigan.
Oh no, he was talking reckless. He was talking reckless to the Michigan boys.
Yeah, no, I didn't talk about the game.
No, outside of it.
They're trying to get, when they were recruiting him to come back to Michigan, he was
Yeah.
like, oh no, they were like, oh no, we're not touching that.
I'll say this, man. I tell people all the time like this, man. The reason I talk from this level here is because these long shots be happening. I'm sitting here as a long shot. I'm on a panel with people that do it for a living. Y'all been doing this 12 years, writing, doing everything. I got in this game when I was 30 plus. And I came in here 2 feet strong and sit amongst giants. And you know why that is? Because you can't tell me nothing. Because it's all about how you're going to work. You let me get on the set, I'm going to grind. You let me get in the game, it's a wrap. Because guess what? When you sleep, I ain't got no kids yet. Guess what I'm doing? I'm writing. I'm on these sticks on this internet. When you doing that, I'm over here. When you vacationing, see, I was poor. I ain't go no vacation. My vacation was I'm gonna be on this internet doing these videos. At the end of the day, it's something to be said for a person that come from something and ain't come from nothing.
Right.
Now, if I can sit up here and watch all the little baseball, we talk about these guys, we know high school kids. Hey, the little left-hand pitcher, he's 17, he got a shot right now. At the end of the day, Emoni Bates got that same opportunity.
2 things.
What you gonna do with it?
2 things. Number one, I don't think it's a good comparison only because you've always had a great work ethic.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
You haven't?
No. There's
You were
not
always
all the
a
time.
hard worker as a player?
I told Earl. When they said Emoni Bates lost his love for the game, I said I lost my love for the game every other week at OU. Every other week.
Well,
and you know why?
As long as I've known you, you've always had a great work ethic.
But here's the thing.
But you're older than he is.
No. When you get to a certain point and you're looking at your life and you're working certain dead-end jobs and you look and you say, listen, if I've always been skilled, I've always been smart, I've always been intelligent, but have I always projected and gave everything that I had at something?
Yeah.
No, that hasn't been the case.
And will he do that? And also, I just think we can't, this is not the NBA. This is Summer League. That's a huge,
So let's
go
there because I want to hear from
Yeah.
Jason, but I will tell you this. I did walk through the halls at the Thomas and Mack, right? That's sort of UNLV's home court, right? And I was like this. Wow, the Summer League has changed.
Oh, yeah. Is it the first time you've been back in a while?
I said, yes. I said, oh, they're packaging it now.
Yes.
You're making people think this is real basketball.
Yeah, it is not.
I said, they're selling programs for $10. We don't even know who these people are.
And it's deep. And it's thick. I said, the whole team here?
Now, they were playing in the Ranger UNL. There are 2 gyms, the UNLV gym, right? Big 17,000-seat arena. They might have 3,000, 4,000 people in there. Maybe, right?
Yeah.
For most of them.
Yeah. And
Wemby's a sellout.
Except for Wemby, right?
People were ripping him after one Summer League game. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
the
so
second
dumb.
game, he gave him something to think about, too, right? So that kid's going to be okay, right? Yes, he is. He's going to be fine once he gets the cadence in. So then the Cavs were playing in the smaller gym. Now, I walked in there. I'm going to tell you what it was. It was electric in there because the crowd was 3,000 people. It was packed.
Yeah.
It was electric,
Sam Merrill was lighting things up.
Sam Merrill was playing well. Emoni Bates was playing well. Even Mobley brother was playing well.
I said, where'd you get that handle? I said it. Let me find out Isaiah Mobley handle better than his brother.
Then you saw Kenny Lofton Jr. trying to go to work too. So you had some real people in the game, right? So the thing about it, I said, is package, and so that it's what sells. I mean, there's people in the middle of the day at this thing. Now that thing used to be in L.A. I forgot what little college was over there we were playing at. I said, this thing is packaged now.
Yeah, and Orlando does a summer league. It's not that big of a deal. Utah does a summer league. Vegas is the one that they really build up.
Yeah.
The agent, Warren Legary, is the one who's.
Is Warren doing that?
Yeah, Warren runs Vegas.
Does he?
Yes, he's the one that made it into what it is. He's an agent for a number. He's an agent for a number of coaches. He's a big time.
Yeah. Used to be a number of players.
Yeah. And I think that, Jason, I think that goes into why people react to it more than they should.
It's Vegas.
Well, it's Vegas.
Yeah, right.
It's Vegas.
Yeah. So it's a big deal.
It's Vegas.
I mean,
they do it right now.
Yeah.
You saw that globe, that sphere that James Dolan built from the Knicks, the owner of the Knicks built.
I didn't see it. I was only there for like 2 days.
This thing. So
the basketball globe? Yeah, crazy.
It's an arena.
Yeah,
It's arena, but
it's lit up.
But the graphics on the outside changed anything. I was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. He said since he built that, the MSG stock went up 31%.
That's crazy.
I said, this is crazy.
Should have put your money in that.
I mean, I've made my stance on Emoni clear. My head hurts talking about Emoni Bates so much. I think this is nuts. I'm not going to cap a guy at 19 and tell you what his potential is. But I'm telling you right now, for this year, to have any sort of expectation on him is insane.
No,
he's going to be in the G League all year.
This is a long shot. But I'll tell you what, there's a need. The Cavs didn't have a need.
Oh, wing's the most important position in the game.
Well, here, you got two killers out front.
Yeah.
You need a threat at the three.
Right, but to your point, Brad, they have a need. If they had a chance to fill that need, they're not going to let drafting of Emoni Bates stand in the way.
Well, here's the problem here. This is not LA and New York. They don't have unlimited budgets here, right?
Agreed. But if there was an opportunity, they would still fill it.
I think it was this, and I said that was brilliant because I would have done it because I'm not going broke in this thing. I'm not. Don't bring me no luxury
there's no
tax
risk.
again.
Well,
and here's the thing. If I believe in what I have, right, in my core four, right, Jarrett, Donovan, Darius, right, and Allen, right? I mean, and Mobley, right?
Yeah.
But I believe my core four. Now, I didn't like the way it finished up last year at all, but I got to run it back. Don't panic, right? Denver should have taught you something. They had a chance a while ago to break up off of that. They said, no, we're going to try to supplant it with and supplement it with some other things.
And Denver taught you something, too. They drafted a kid with a bad back and said, let me see what he got.
Let's just hold on for a second.
Let me look
now,
at it.
because if it doesn't in 30 or 40, because there are a lot of people I think that, if it doesn't work in 40 games, I'm not burned because I still have assets. I can go get me some people. I can break off one of those core.
Well, they're going to trade Donovan Mitchell next year if it doesn't work.
And give me some assets back.
All I'm saying is my slogan for the new year is this. I gave you your core four, but we ain't going no more. I gave you Jared Allen. It's part of throw your four in there.
Yeah.
But the rest of these dudes y'all co-signing, Dean Ways of the world, no. You can't tell me Emoni Bates ain't got the same kind of upside as Dean Wade. All these guys, the Jetties of the world, the Lamar Stevenses of the world, or the Robin and Brooke Lopez's, that these guys gave you zip zero stingy with De Niro.
Right.
Now, is he going to do something this year? Probably not. But that skill set is undeniable. And you know what I know he can't do?
What?
He can play dead at the funeral.
Yeah, he can play dead at the funeral. So I'm going to tell you this. Yeah. I will say this, though. Well, he has to do this. He has to conform. Mm-hmm. You are not the dude on Sports Illustrated anymore. That's over.
No.
That dude's gone. Now you have to humble yourself.
Right.
And then you have to be the person, Jason knows this, you got to be the person to get to the gym early, stays extra, doing the workouts, doing the extra mile, the extra grind. I don't care if it's in the G. I don't care if it's on a two-way. I don't care if it's in this league, right? And you don't look no further than Kenny Lofton, what he had to do to work himself back into this, right? That's what you have to be now. But if you come in here thinking that I'm that guy.
Nah, you're out of luck.
You'll be out of luck.
And they don't have a lot invested in him. He doesn't have a lot of time. Like they tried this with Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah.
And they gave up, and it didn't work, and they sent him to Houston.
Right.
Emoni Bates has less time than Kevin Porter Jr.
Right.
did.
What did Boobie Gibson say? I'm going to just check. Boobie said something earlier today. I didn't know he said something on the internet. He said he was working with him. He said he be putting the work in. I don't know. Maybe it was on Instagram.
They're all going to say
let's
that.
talk
I'm just saying.
Let's talk about the real players they've added.
Hold on. We're not going to be dismissive like that. We're not going to do that.
We've talked about Emoni Bates way more than any second-round pick in the history of basketball.
But listen, the thing is, if you're not gonna watch the brother play, and you ain't seen him play. No. If you're not gonna
watched it.
No, let's not be dismissive. I done sat up here and talked about Miles Straw all damn day. Now let's be clear.
And Miles Straw.
Get him, G. So we spent a whole damn hour on Miles Straw, and we got a dude on. See, this is the thing I'm talking about. And this was why people in the streets got a street level problem. You guys big up these mediocre guys, talk about them for an hour. You done gave doggone C's. This dude.
We've talked about Emoni Bates for 2 friggin' weeks.
We've talked about Emoni Bates more than anyone.
We've talked about Emoni Bates more than the Spurs and the Heat and the Thunder and the Jazz spent time.
So hold on. And so when let's not act like Jokic. Ain't you tell me what we learned about the Nuggets? He's a second-round pick, and guess what? The Nuggets got him, and they paid dividends. So don't poo-poo second-round picks.
So
like
hold on. G, let me jump.
Generally, they don't.
It
What
took
I'm
Jokic-
saying.
It took Jokic 3 years.
And,
Okay.
And G, we've talked about it nonstop for 2 years.
But don't be
Who else is talking about second-round picks?
Don't be
this long?
dismissive. Talk about who gonna help out.
What are we doing?
This is what I'm
He ain't
missing.
doing anything
I will
this
say
year.
this.
You dismissive of the game, bro.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
I think it was a great shot in the dark, right? We'll see what happens. It's a long road ahead. I was reminded, I was sitting at the table on the last day at the player meeting, right? I've been waiting for this meeting because they said they'd be cutting up at this meeting, right? So I said, let me go to this meeting. And I'm sitting at the table, it's me, Elston Turner, Kevin Edwards. Remember Michael Adams?
Oh, yeah.
So Mike Adams was there. He said, Brad, you know I was a third-round pick, late third-round pick. That's what I was. So there's room here.
Of course, there's undrafted guys.
There's room.
I don't think anybody's saying
I'm
that
saying,
he couldn't possibly
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying here. I'm not crowning him the end all to be all here. I'm saying you have a shot.
The
right
Heat
now.
went to the finals with Strus and Vincent.
Right.
Undrafted guys. Of
Listen,
course.
My
Yes,
point
indeed.
is, my
every
point
year.
is,
So
G,
we're going to see what
again,
this turns out
it's
to be.
possible he becomes something.
In
But to say we haven't
2027,
talked
maybe
about
he's
him.
here.
We've talked about him more than any individual player in the Guardians for the last 2 weeks.
No, you said let's talk
Yeah.
about the people that actually mean something.
Yes, because he doesn't mean anything for this year.
But you don't know. This is what I'm
We don't-
talking
we don't.
about. You don't know that.
Who's more likely to mean something to the Cavs, Max Strus or Emoni Bates?
So let me ask you. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
What means something? You saying he ain't doing something, or Booby Gibson that worked with him saying he ain't doing so? What mean more?
Is Boobie Gibson saying he's going to play a lot?
Booby Gibson is telling you
Yeah.
what the man's skill set is.
And
He's telling you what
and
it is.
Kobe Altman told you we're going to take our time with him. There's no pressure.
But
that's code for we are not expecting anything
But that's not
from
what
him.
I'm saying.
But
I'm not saying
Gee,
that.
what is the percentage chance he's a factor on the team this year?
I will say this.
Yeah.
Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Mobley were there cheering this kid on. I will say that.
But
sitting
the
on the
point is, G got mad because I was like, who cares about him? Let's get to the other guys.
Here.
My point is, he's a in my opinion, he's going to be
he's
most likely to be a non-factor this year.
That's fine.
He's a product.
That's all I'm saying.
He's a product
That's
of the hype
fine.
machine.
Max Strus and
Niang.
and Niang, those guys are going to be factors this year.
What I'm trying to show.
We've spent the whole time with Brad talking about this guy who's not even going to play.
All I'm saying is this, man. All I'm saying is when you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you have to have more than one way to make your team better.
Agreed.
The draft is one way, Strus and Niang are one way, and getting the guys better. If you're going to run it back. If you're just going to run it back, you've got to be able to talk about the nuances that are used to get better.
But we've had Brad for 20 minutes, and we spent zero time on the guys who they actually expect to help
They
them
get
this year.
$65 million
Let's
That's what I'm saying.
Let's get to those.
What did you
Let's
think
go
about
to those guys.
those two big additions?
Well, I think they obviously needed a whole bunch of shooting. So again, we're not going to break the bank out here in paying people, right? So they are able to pick up Strus and Niang from Philly, right? Again, they're on the make good too, right? See, because some will say, Strus, you only got off because you was in Miami.
Yep.
Now you're on the radar screen. It's different, Jason. You know it's different when they got the scout report on you now.
Sure.
Oh,
And
it's
you get
you.
paid.
Oh, it's you.
But
I'm waiting for you.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So now he got to answer that bell, right? But what I like about him, he had to come from a hard way up, right? So he should not have. I hope he don't get bloated by this money, right? And so if he does, the shooting that we need, there it goes. Again, the Cavaliers' fortune is not resting on Strus or Niang.
Correct.
It's on those power four.
Correct.
It's really the power three, right? That's
Those
where
guys didn't play well enough
That's
when it
where
mattered.
because here, they know that. They know that. Them dudes on the sideline, they're not gonna save you. They might help you, but they're not gonna save you. Not me, Monty Banks ain't gonna save you. If Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell don't perform at a high level, at a super clip, right? Because now the league, the Eastern Conference is that much tougher now. If you don't perform at a high clip and not a high regular season clip,
Right.
Because there's a difference. You saw that. Now,
Donovan Mitchell went backwards in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what you need from Strus in the playoffs? You need someone to guard him. That's what you need.
Yeah, because we didn't have that.
That's exactly
I told you.
it.
I said, who did I say bring in before?
Carmelo Anthony! Carmelo Anthony! Jason said he was walking off the stage. No, Carmelo came up. Yes! He's out of here!
Bye, Jason. Goodbye, Jason.
Carmelo Anthony!
Goodbye.
He's out!
Goodbye,
He's out.
Jason. Goodbye, Jason. Look. Goodbye, Jason. Look, hold on. Look. More time for me.
Jason said before the show, if Carmelo Anthony comes up, I'm out of here.
Now, here's the crazy thing. I wasn't even going to say, now, you know, that's the car.
Well, here. So, Jay, you said this. Was I wrong? No.
They need somebody.
No. Was I wrong?
Well, I don't know. I don't know that Carmelo can play
Where
anymore.
were we soft at?
They need a shooter.
What didn't we have?
We had nothing.
Because you didn't have a threat at the three.
That's right.
Right. So was I wrong?
At least you got to defend.
I don't think I was wrong.
Listen, I'll tell you what. Look, I'm looking at this thing from a totality standpoint.
Yeah.
You got Strus and Niang. They fill roles that you needed. You needed shooters. You needed somebody. Isaac Okoro can be a guy that's a defender off the bench.
Right.
Energy, right? Now you got guys slotting and filling roles. I got Karis LeVert, who's a 6-man that could give me 50 off the bench. I got him now. Now, we slotted to do some things where now you're looking at these little pieces and parts. You hope Darius Garland gets better.
Yeah.
You hope Donovan Mitchell gets better. You got guys in the G League like Merrill. You got guys in the G League like Emoni Bates. You think, I didn't know if Isaiah Mobley could play. But it looked like Isaiah Mobley wasn't just a throw-in because of his brother.
Right.
So now it looks like they have something.
But again, I just disagree that they can prove that in the summer league.
No,
I don't think anything in the summer league they do matter.
I mean, you see some flashes. You won't know till you get to the races. But what I say is this, right? And here's the thing, and you know, first you got to understand what market you're in, right? So this is not a market flush with cash, right? So you got to be strategic. The Cavs try to be strategic here. And I will just say this to, you know, I'll say for Jason and anybody else. I have assets that will bring me back a wealth of things if I want to unload them, right? Mm-hmm. You tell me somebody won't give me much for Donovan Mitchell?
Yep.
You think people won't give me much for Darius Garland?
Garland?
You think people won't give me much for Isaiah Mobley if I ever had to break up off of it?
Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley. Well, if I ever had to break off of it.
Right.
So there's no time to panic. We're trying to plug holes here, right? See, last year I think we were fooling ourselves to the fact that we thought we had more than we had.
Right.
And you didn't when you got down to the nitty gritty. You didn't have it, right?
And
then the other thing is your primary players. They have to perform like primary players.
That's right.
That's right.
Which they didn't when it mattered.
Yes, they did.
And that's why, Brad, the Cavs are in a weird spot because the regular season next year really is meaningless. It doesn't matter. They could win 58 games. I don't care.
Right.
What are you going to do in the playoffs when it matters? Right. You think Boston got better or worse with that trade they made with Marcus Smart getting rid of him?
They were in a tough position because they had to make a move, right? Yeah. I don't think Porzingis is going to be the answer, the end all, to be all here. Yeah. Their problem is between Brown and Tatum, right? That's the problem, right? Because you can't tell who's the 1A, right? You can't tell, right? And then I'm not sure that either one of them they're both talented players. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure they have the ability to be the lead dog, right? See, because when we got down to the degree, there was a lead dog leading you down the stretch, right? Every day, it was that same. Jimmy Butler was that guy until he ran out of gas.
Yeah.
No. And they got hurt.
And they needed another one.
All right, let's bring Jason back in. We're going to do
come on back in.
Let's do the top 5 list, Mike.
We can do top 5.
I got a Carmelo candy bar.
Someone in the chat said Brad's going to name his next grandkid Mello.
Yeah.
I love that comment.
Brad doesn't get to pick the grandkids' names, does he?
Listen, huh?
Do you pick the grandkids' names?
No.
You don't have any grandkids yet,
I got a grandson.
Oh, yeah. How did I not know that?
Because you're a bad friend.
So I tell you, it's always about, you're just trying to get better.
Yeah.
Now, I saw some teams out in L.A., in Vegas, their summer league team I didn't know who these dudes were.
That's most of them.
Yeah,
Mike, what do we got before the top 5 list?
Before the top 5, with Brad coming back, I wanted to make Brad king of the land for a day.
Oh, yeah, right.
So, Brad, I asked you, and we made a graphic for it, to be king of the land, which means you can change any rule in sports to your favor, to how you think you could improve said sport. And you decided to tweak a little bit of the NBA, the sport you know better than anyone.
Right.
So, Brad, if you were king of the land for a day, how would you fix basketball?
Well, I kind of went back to how it used to be when I was younger. Remember when they used to have 3 for 2 for free throws? You get 3 shots and make 2.
Yeah.
That was a bunch of mess.
That was in the NBA? I have no idea. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
When was that?
3 for 2 in the 80s.
Yeah.
3 for 2. So I tweaked it a little bit. So the 3-point line here, everybody's so shooting deep now.
Yeah.
I said, move the 3-point line back 1.5 foot.
Would you have to make the court bigger too?
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
A little bit.
Nah,
Would you get rid of the corner 3?
That is the problem. The corner 3 is pretty much shut out. It's gonna come from the arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you do that because they're shooting longer and deeper. But I like this. When you get a blowout here, right? 15 points or more at any duration of the game, that 3-point line now becomes a 4-point line. We're gonna chop this down, right?
That's kind of crazy.
And then you get to the last 5 minutes of a game, and it reverts to totally a 4-point line. So you could play yourself back in the game. You could be down 15.
Yeah.
Three threes to get three fours to get you back there. You'd be knocking on the door again, right?
That's crazy.
And I learned, I kind of picked up from the thinking of the G League, because the G League goes to overtime. They don't play minutes.
So first to something?
They're first to the point number. They said the point differential. They lay it out there.
The
so
Elam ending.
Yep. When I saw it, I thought it was crazy at first. I was like, that's actually pretty slick, because I ain't gonna be here all day. It's like playing a game of 21, right?
Right.
I'm gonna put you out your misery
and
early.
When we used to play watch out 11?
Yeah. It's like horse. I'm gonna throw you out the
like-
game, right? And so, but think about that, Jay. You're down 15. Or you're down about a number of points in the fourth quarter. The 3-point line becomes a 4-point line. The way guys are shooting the ball now,
That'd be crazy.
now when you out there drafting,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find me a long range person that can.
How about if they just put a 4-point line out there, like maybe it's half court? I
Nah,
know it's very
because
gimmicky,
I don't want it to turn into no sideshow
Horse game,
freak
game of
fest,
horse.
right? That's what it that's what it'll do. You saw Adam, you saw it in the All-Star game when they were shooting them crazy shots in the All-Star game. I'm like, this is a bunch of mess, right? You have to target it. Say, okay, it comes into play here, right? Here's the deal. And then the other thing that would be nice, Jason, is this: if they ever went to a point differential, like they do in Europe, so. Point differential, because that's the separator in the playoff position, the EuroLeague rankings, which are point differential.
Oh, I follow you now. I wasn't following you at first.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought you meant in games.
That means that keeps the games, because instead of me winning by 3 and dribbling the clock out, now put some more points on that board. That'll help the boys betting in Vegas too. That throw all their little money off, because.
So you would have to get to a point, like you have to get to a certain point.
No.
Standings.
Yeah.
Points for, points against.
So you got to keep piling. You got to keep piling it on.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That would lead to running up scores. It would be exciting, though.
The other thing it would do is stop you from resting everybody in the fourth quarter.
That's true. Mike, are you able to play that clip or no?
You want to play it now, or you want to play it at the end of the show?
Well, no, I just want to play it now because Brad talked about rule changes.
We can play it.
I sent this to the guys yesterday.
Steve,
this
take
is
tag
a cool
board.
rule.
Play it, Anthony.
So there's a minor league, before you play it, there's a minor league baseball. Can you hold it for a second or no? Here you go. Watch this. Okay, so this guy flies out, and it's a foul ball, but the game's over. Why? Because a fan caught the ball. So this is the Savannah Bananas.
This is awesome.
The Savannah Bananas, who were in Akron last week, they're basically the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, right? But their games count in the standings, but it's minor leagues. When they're at home, if a fan catches a fly ball, it's an out. So this fan, the kid in the red shirt there, caught the foul ball, and the players were jumping on. They brought him on the field and they're celebrating. He made the last out of the game.
Ended the game.
How awesome is that?
Can we do that?
Isn't that fantastic?
That is great.
Can we do that in Major League Baseball?
That's great.
Can you understand how great that would be?
That would be great.
Now, can the Bananas make outs that way, or just the road team?
It's everybody.
It's everybody.
When Zach Frangolio, who's their creative director, came on 2 weeks ago, we talked about these rules and who they play. And these guys are all legit baseball players. They play legitimate baseball players. And when they implement these rules, it is not just to help the Bananas. it's rules that both teams abide by for the entire game.
I mean, do you scream at the home fans if they?
Yeah, but the home fans are not going to try to catch it.
Oh, yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if somebody catches a fly ball in the stands?
It's an out.
And it's an out. And it's the end of the World Series, and the end of the drop for the Guardians.
What was that 12-year-old Jeffrey Mayer in Baltimore? New York.
Oh, my God.
People will fall out on it.
That is the greatest rule I've ever heard in my life.
Isn't it awesome? I saw that was. Yeah. Now their games count. Those players are not affiliated though, right? With a
Savannah Bananas players are not affiliated.
they're
to
independent,
teams.
but they play in the affiliated AA. No,
I don't think they play real minor league teams.
Okay.
I think they play like
they did. They played against Akron.
Well, that would have been an exhibition.
Yeah, I don't think it counts in the standings.
Okay.
Barnstorming. Speaking of barnstorming,
It's awesome.
Speaking of barnstorming, how about the league, NBA going to the in-season tournament?
Yeah,
what is the point?
I was asking Jason, what
$500,000 for the winning player.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm still trying to get my head around it.
I'm trying to come
I'm standing a baggage claim.
You know what
I
I
see them
would think,
advertising
guys?
in-season
You know what
tournament.
to me would be better? It would at least Jason mentions that Adam Silver loves soccer. Well, in soccer, it's different teams from different leagues playing each other in these in-season tournaments. It's not the same exact teams playing the same exact teams, and there's no other league that's equivalent to the NBA, so you couldn't do that. But if you're going to have an in-season tournament, make it all the players from a certain school are on one team, or find a way to switch it up. Otherwise,
do you know what the point of this is?
I know what the end game is.
What's the end game?
I know. You go, Jason.
Go ahead.
The end game is to make enough money off this to offset the revenue to reduce the number of games in the regular season. That's the end game.
Yes.
So you can reduce the season from 82 to 72 or 65 or whatever, and make up that revenue with this in-season tournament.
Can I say something? I'm glad you said that because that came up at the Player Association meeting, right? Retired Player Association meeting. And you know, the one thing that was a common denominator in their pet peeve from the older guys. Did I tell you I saw Michael Ray Richardson?
No,
I played with Michael Ray Richardson in France. I said I saw some people, right? They were like this. Then nobody sitting out a game, right? And then stop telling me you can't play 82 games.
Yeah.
Stop telling me that.
The teams are wanting them to do it.
A lot of the teams want to reduce the games. But here's my problem.
That's only because people crying about.
But if you reduce it from 82 to 72, they're still going to sit 10 games.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. That's what we were saying, Jason. It doesn't matter. Stop saying you can't play.
By the way, they're talking about going down to 154 in baseball when they expand to 32 teams.
Yeah.
And drastically realign.
Now it's going to change records. That'll change records.
Yeah, if the records now are irrelevant.
Silver's talking about going to 2 teams here, 2 expansion teams here.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, 32.
They will. Yeah. Seattle's going to get
Seattle,
a team back.
or Seattle's been politicking for years, and probably Vegas.
In Vegas.
I just don't Well, I get the money factor, but
it's all about the money.
How was that going to look at it, like the tournament? And what if people are like, well, I'm using this like the All-Star break. I ain't planning on using no tournament.
But most of them are regular season games. So
there's only one game apparently.
Only the championship counts as a non-regular season game.
Right. The whole thing's stupid to me, but anyway.
I don't see the grand benefit, but there's two good things about it. One, when the semifinals and finals are played, it is the week after the college football season ends. It is Army-Navy week. There's nothing going on that night. So it gives the NBA a chance to be the center of the sports world's attention outside of the NFL. For one weekend before their Christmas Day, which is when really the NBA season kind of picks up momentum. And then 2, it's going to give us a chance, as just a casual basketball fan, to watch some of the guys who you don't get to see that often on national TV play for something. Like OKC, for example, a team that probably won't win the NBA title this year, but they may have a chance because they'll take this a little more seriously, win the NBA Cup, and getting to see Chet Holmgren or SGA or somebody like that.
But Mike,
I'm waiting to see, so I'm not going to poo-poo it, right? I'm going to wait to see how it goes. But this is never going to be the FA Cup in the Premier League in soccer. It's not going to be that, right?
Exactly.
The FA Cup means something, right?
So, because there's other league in Europe, the leagues are somewhat equivalent to top teams. There's no, I don't know.
So here's how you want to make it relevant. Yeah. Whoever win that tournament automatically go to the playoffs.
So Bill Simmons on his podcast threw out 2 ideas to make this have a little more meaning. One was you get the 15th pick in the draft. On top of whatever pick you already had, you get the first pick out of the lottery, even if you win the NBA title that year.
Players don't care about that.
But it gives the incentive to team. Or
No, I don't think it does because I don't think the players would be incentivized.
They
by that.
paying him $500,000. I said, that's all you get, $500,000.
And then secondly,
Mike, the players don't care about draft picks.
That money
but once
doesn't
again,
mean
this
nothing
is
to them.
only one extra game. The other one's a
No,
regular
no.
season game.
But
Low man
Bill
on
Simmons is
totem
coming with an idea to incentivize the players to
guy.
be interested, right?
What does that mean?
Well, you incentivize the coaches to then say, "Hey, we're going
Still
to
$300,000.
Okay, I
really
mean,
try." And then
having
secondly,
the 15th pick doesn't incentivize the
they gonna
players.
cry
But
out.
go ahead.
secondly,
on the
cut
board.
off $5 million from your luxury tax bill, so you could essentially pay an extra guy.
Again, those are
a
not
little more.
things that players would care
Well,
about.
you're never going to incentivize the players. It's
I
incentivizing
think-
a team to go out and do something.
I think you would have to. If you wanted it with teeth, if you win this tournament, it's automatic bid.
Right, that would incentivize players.
Can I tell you who was adamant against people sitting out?
Ooh.
Derek Coleman and Antoine Carr. Adamant.
Antoine Carr used to play for the Cavs too.
No.
remember him on
Antoine
No,
Carr,
not Antoine Carr. What's his name?
Antoine Jameson.
That was
What's
Austin.
the other Carr?
Yeah, so
Austin
they
Carr.
were
Left hand.
adamant because the guys feel like 82 games is not a lot of games, right? Right?
Yeah,
Why is everybody sitting out these games? They can't understand it.
yeah.
Teams are doing sleep studies now on travel and wear and tear and all that, and when you're running in the red. But I've said this before on the show. If you want to cut down on the wear and tear, when you go to Charlotte, you stay in Charlotte. You play both your games in Charlotte, and then you move on. Then
Right.
you go to Milwaukee. You play 2 in Milwaukee,
Right.
and then you move on. It would drastically
Why
reduce
don't they
the
do
travel of
that?
the season. The pushback I've gotten is it's hard for business sales side, ticket sales side to sell that second game. They do it occasionally.
Yeah.
I think they need to make it more often. It
I
needs to
know,
become the
and
standard.
the benefit to that would be that you'd at least get to see the stars play in one of those two games.
At least one time you
Yeah.
gonna
Right.
see him play.
And you drastically reduce the
Oh, it'd
travel.
be huge.
on
All right,
the
we got to
season.
leave it there because we got to get this top 5 list in before the top of the hour. So,
We do.
Right.
We have a special top 5 list today because Brad is in.
Uh-oh.
And it's been a while since Brad's been on, so
Oh,
we
wow.
did the ultimate 5 things that Brad Sellers has been doing
Well,
since his last appearance on UCSS.
Let me know.
Brad, let us know if this is true. This is me, Earl and
Okay.
Anthony,
Yeah.
speculating, but I know
Okay.
some of these are definitely true.
Let's see.
Number 5 on the list of things Brad's been doing since his last appearance on UCSS. Take it, Steve. Being tall as shit.
I don't think that's changed.
definitely still
That's
true.
pretty
That's
good.
still true.
That's pretty good.
That will not change. Brad,
No.
did you see Wemby out in Vegas?
No, I was mad because when I got out there, he played on that Sunday and gave him the business. I mean, he gave them the business.
That 20
And then
season.
San Antonio was like, he's done.
Yeah, right. That's enough.
That's enough.
Do you get, real quick, before we get to the next one,
Yeah.
Wemby, who's listed at 7'4", some people say he's even taller. For you as a 7-footer, when you see someone who's 4 inches is pretty
That's pretty tall.
pretty tall.
Yeah.
Do you look at like, holy crap, like?
Nah, I don't look
Yeah,
at him like that. I just like, he's taller.
It's got to be weird, Brad.
you just don't see many
almost
people
never
taller than
meet
you.
anybody taller than you.
Nah, you know what? It's a rarity, but
Yeah.
here I
Shaq?
can. Shaq only an inch taller, but
Yeah.
bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Samson was there. Samson.
What are
Mark
you
Eaton?
officially? What are you?
7 foot.
7 foot.
Wasn't Mark Eaton like 7'3",
Like
7'4"?
7'3".
Yeah.
Rick
Artis
Smits.
Gilmore, when I played Artis, he was 7'2".
Scott Bradley.
Scott Brad, 7'6".
Well, then you
New
got.
Bowl, of course.
New Bowl.
Do y'all say Mark Eaton?
There
Yeah,
was
Mark
Mark
Eaton,
Eaton.
yeah.
Well, you got Bradley and Murasan and
Murasan.
Bo.
Murasan, yeah.
My man from China.
Oh, Yao
Yeah.
Ming.
Yao Ming.
Yeah.
Yao Ming. Yeah.
It's just got to be weird.
It's
You're
weird.
in the
It's
top
it's a
99%
rarity,
top
but you
height,
know
yeah.
what? You know what I like, Mikey? It take all the focus off me. Go see him. Go see that guy over there. That's a tall guy over there.
You know, all the attention was on Wemby, and in that second game, he did some things that I just don't.
It was
remember
freakish.
anyone ever see.
Mike, it was freakish.
When he tipped the ball to himself
And
and,
then dunked it
from
back.
the block,
It's freakish.
how the hell does this?
That was
doesn't-
corny.
it
I didn't like
defies the
that.
laws of physics.
That was too. I'm like, this is corny. This is unbelievable. You can't do that on
But
me.
I'm gonna tell you what.
By the way, tomorrow on the Behind the Scenes podcast, special guest G. Bush joins Earl to decide why Emoni Bates is going to be better than Wemby.
It's called Behind the Glass.
I ain't crazy.
Steve
Oh,
asked.
behind the glass.
Steve
Excuse
Becker
me.
asked us yesterday.
Get him together. And the Duke of Knee Jerk is the Duke of Knee Jerk, but I'm not the king of crazy.
Steve Becker texted us yesterday and said, "Keep cut trade."
What's number
Aaron
4,
Donald,
my friend?
Shohei Ohtani or Emoni Bates. Number 4. This is an Earl suggestion.
Come on,
Things
Earl.
we think Brad's been doing since his last show.
See
Earl
Earl.
thinks you've been standing over the grill hitting the barbecue. The
Oh
barbecue
yeah,
lot?
there's
that
no
been
question,
happening?
no question. Real master, get it done. Have some things.
He don't be Brad particular. He don't. I feel like you got a specific type of dog that you do. You don't do no regular type
Nah,
dogs.
we doing Italian sausage.
Look.
Yeah, see what I'm
Number
saying?
one in this is easy. I hope you guys didn't drop the ball.
Italian sausage.
There's a
No,
couple
my
slam
number
dunks.
one's a good one.
There's a couple slam
All right,
dunks.
go ahead.
All right, number 3. This is the Anthony suggestion on the list. He thinks you're out here buying a boat, Brad.
Oh no, buddy. I ride on J's.
That's free.
I ain't
Hey,
buying nothing.
Buying a
Jay,
boat.
I tell Jay, pull up.
Hey, I ain't listen. James gonna start charging 20 for that gas here in a second. I'm cool. Hey, listen, I'm with you. I can't do it.
Pull up with Jay.
All right, number 2, my personal favorite. What I think Brad's been doing since his last UCSS appearance. I think Brad's been telling MJ stories to random people he whacked.
Look at that! No, bring that back! Look how you on that man's shoulder.
That's a good one.
I never saw that before.
We see that again?
Can
I
we
said,
see that picture?
Bring that back.
Bring that whole
Bring
way
that
back.
I was trying to
back.
figure out how to
Look
bring
at
that
him.
back.
We just beat your ass.
That was
That's that look.
that was in the Coliseum.
That looks like y'all ain't got nothing for
That was
this.
right after it went down.
Brad is so young. Look at that picture.
He like, we just hit that shot. Yeah, we going to the club.
No, we get on the bus, go back to the shot.
All right,
What's number one?
And Brad,
You
this
better
is
get
a
this one
series-
right. This
is-
one better be right.
I bet you I got it right.
Okay.
The number one thing Brad's been doing since his last UCSS
Drum roll.
appearance. Drum roll. Steve, take it. He's been watching Cheyenne absolutely kill it with Team USA, taking home the gold medal in the
Hey.
Brad, did I nail it?
Yeah, you got that right. I've been all over that.
Did you see? Now, is the
I've been all
gold medal
over it.
really the gold medal? Like, is that really thing?
I haven't seen it yet.
You ain't seen it yet? Oh, that's fire.
She got it. Took. You know how long it took to fly to China? They did a 13-hour flight from Miami to Beijing.
Yeah.
Then it was an 8-hour layover.
Oh my goodness.
Then an 8-hour flight
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
to the spot. No. It was a 13-hour flight to Qatar. To Qatar.
Yeah.
To Qatar. 8-hour layover. Then an 8-hour flight into
Man,
Beijing.
jeez.
And then, hold on, a 5-hour bus ride.
Oh my God.
And they were playing. It was 109.
Oh my goodness.
And they had to sit there and go through customs twice.
Yeah,
you might got something still.
Yeah.
By the way, like number 3 should have been, increasing membership in the Carmelo Anthony fan club.
Yeah, no question.
You got to
Well, he's in the.
I had to include everybody.
No,
Yeah.
Carmelo's in the RPA now, the Retired Players Association.
Yeah.
Right?
Shout out to him. And,
By the way, yesterday in Death Valley, California, they recorded the hottest temperature in the history of the Earth. Did you know that?
I did not.
130 degrees.
I'm gonna tell you what. The west side of this country got a problem. Southwest and the west side got a problem. See, because the heat is off the chain. The water is gonna be drying up. I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna be flooding back to the Midwest here. Hold on to your property here, right?
I was in Vegas a couple years ago for Summer League. It was 119 degrees.
Yeah.
That's the hottest I've ever been.
Listen, I didn't want to go outside.
I know.
but
And
Actually, I didn't think this one
But-
wasn't as bad.
Then they went golfing.
But we're crazy because we crazy liberals.
Yeah.
That with global warming, what?
I guess
I'ma
just
stay-
God wants
I'ma
it
stay
hot.
where I am.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
I want to tease overtime because this is something we're going to talk about and we're going to come back to next week. But Netflix dropped the new series called Quarterback.
Yeah, really good.
And if you guys haven't seen it yet, it's essentially docu-series crews following around the lives of Patrick Mahomes and his family, Kirk Cousins and his family, and Marcus Mariota and his family for the entirety of the 2022 season. In overtime, we're going to talk about which Cleveland athlete we'd want to see most be mic'd up for an entire season. And then next week, when we all get a chance to go through and watch it,
Right.
we're going to do a series review, no spoilers or anything
Yeah.
until then, but next week. So that's coming up in
I've only
overtime.
watched the first half hour of the first episode, but it was extremely well done.
Crazy.
They take out all the cheeseball force storylines from Hard Knocks.
Hey, look, shout out to my man Deshaun Watson. I saw him at the grocery store about a week ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
What was he buying?
They was getting ready for the 4th of July holiday.
You just salute. Did you give him the OG talk, or did you just let him get his groceries?
Look, they was out there mingling with the regular folk. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Just doing,
Okay.
just blending on in. I was like, glad you came out the house.
By the way, I see.
You get groceries now this year.
Come on
right?
now.
I see Big Z at the supermarket. One of the supermarkets I go to once a month.
Jared Allen be at Lowe's all the time.
Jared Allen going to Lowe's.
Dude just be
Of
working
course
on
he does.
You be working on your own house, Jared.
Of course he does.
You would do that.
We'll see you on overtime. Thanks to Brad for coming in studio.
See you guys.
First time we've seen him in a while. It's all coming up next on overtime right here. Ultimate Cleveland Sports. See ya.
That clock is wrong.